Hi guys, it's Kino. Welcome to another video. I wanted to hop on here quickly to share a very exciting announcement with you guys. As of today, June 30th, 2023, I have a new song out which is called Bind. This song is a story of union between two people who are tired of letting their fear and their pride and ego get in the way of a really special and rare connection that they share. This song is a collaboration with a very talented artist, Maya Love, who is from Canada like me. Maya actually reached out to my music email expressing an interest to collab, and she sent a couple videos of herself singing and playing the acoustic guitar. I really liked this idea for Bind, and I thought I can definitely make a beat around this. So I took Maya's original idea and built on it with my own production, and I think we got a really unique sound because it blends her style, which is more pop folk, and my style, which is heavily electronic. I think that you guys will really like this song. I think a lot of you will be able to resonate with the lyrics, especially for those of you who are on a twin flame or divine counterpart journey, or are just tired of your fears getting in the way of having intimate connections with people. So I'm gonna have the lyric video linked down below for you guys to check out after you watch this reading or before or whenever you want. I'll be really happy if you check it out. And I want to say thank you to everyone who has been listening to and supporting my music up until now. If you have not checked it out yet, definitely go do that. I think if you are a spiritual person, you'll be able to resonate with a lot of my songs. Thank you guys so much for supporting me and for allowing me to have this space where I can express myself. And without further ado, let's get on to the reading. Hi guys, it's Kino. Welcome to another video. So the topic that we're going to be doing in today's pick a card reading is one of my favorites. I'm super excited for it. We're going to be seeing how and when you will come into union with your person. So I wanted to talk a little bit about who this reading is for and how this reading works. As you guys know, I do my best to include as many different types of people and types of connections as possible in my readings, so you can watch this as a soulmate, twin flame, divine counterpart journey type of thing if that feels good for you. Or if you don't really resonate or care about those labels, you can also watch this for how you'll come together with your next partner, with your future spouse, with your person of interest who happens to be on your mind, or just someone out there who is good for you and with whom you have the potential for union. I sometimes get questions if you can watch these kinds of readings even if you don't know your person in the 3D, or even if you don't know who they are yet and you just feel their energy. And the answer is yes. I also get questions if you can watch these readings for a non-romantic connection, and the answer is also yes, but please do keep in mind that many people are watching these readings for a romantic connection with someone whom they have identified and met in the 3D, which just means that you may have to filter out some of the messages if that is not the case for you, or you can modify the messages to suit your situation. Because it is a general reading. I'm reading for many different people. But yes, I just wanted to mention that I do my best to fit as many scenarios as possible and make these readings for everyone. So if that sounds good to you, then stick around because it's gonna be a good time. So there are 4 readings for you guys to choose from today. We're gonna be using a different tarot deck for each reading, and I've also placed crystals on top to help you pick. As you can see, this is what the decks look like from the back, but in just a second, I'm gonna show you a card from each deck so that you can also get a feel for the front artwork. And today I'm gonna be showing you guys the 2 of Cups because that is just very fitting. And it's quite a literal representation of 2 counterparts coming together into union and sharing love with each other and sharing energy with each other. So without further ado, let's give you guys a close-up look at each of your options. Option number 1, your stone is Iolite, your deck is the Animal Tarot, and here is the 2 of Cups. Option number 2, your stone is Amethyst. Your deck is the Livett the Ghost Tarot, and this is the Two of Cups. Option number 3, your stone is Ruby Zoisite. Your deck is the Ethereal Visions Tarot, and this is the Two of Cups. And option number 4, your stone is Brown Calcite. Your deck is the Lunar Eclipse Tarot, and this is the Two of Cups. Okay, so just in case you need a little bit more time to pick, these are all of your options laid out side by side so that you can compare them and see which one is calling to you the most. As always, take all the time you need to pick. You can pause the video if you need to. I'm gonna go ahead and get started with number 1. Hi number ones, so if you guys chose the Iolite and the Animal Tarot, this is going to be a reading all about your journey into union with your person. So I want to start off by showing you guys the list of everything that's going to be covered in the reading today. We're going to start off with the reading here on YouTube, and that will kick off with an energy check. So we're going to take a look at your current energy, your person's current energy, and then the overall energy of the connection between the two of you. Then we're going to jump right into looking at your journey into union. And so for this part, we're going to see what is the sequence of events on your side and on their side that will ultimately bring you into union together. And then once that does happen, what will that union be like? So what is the relationship going to be like between the two of you when you've reached your final stage of union? And then we have an extended reading today. So there we're going to see a specific timing of your union based on the current energies. And I added this part because, of course, your union and the specific timing of your union is not set in stone because both of you have free will and things can change. So the timing that we get is just based on the current energy at the time that you're watching. And with that in mind, in the extended reading, we're also going to see what could speed up the union and make it easier, and what could slow down the union and make it more difficult. And then we are going to finish off with what your person wishes they could tell you. So we'll get a message directly from them. So that is the reading for today. We're going to start off with our energy check. And to do that, we're going to be using oracle cards. So I'm going to put your lovely tarot deck aside for just a moment. We are going to pull your cards over here, their cards over here, and the energy of the connection will be in the middle. But if you hear the descriptions and you feel like that's actually them and that's actually you, it's totally fine to flip the energies around. It's also possible that you resonate with both sides, and that's totally fine too. In fact, that's a strong indication that you and your person are mirroring each other and having the same experiences right now. But if you don't really resonate with either side, then this is probably not your group. So you might want to try listening to a different group, or maybe this is just not your reading today, and that is fine as well. So without further ado, let's take a look at your cards. So on your side, we have listen, and more specifically, listening to what someone has to say. Then we have the Nine of Cups, separation, and dependency, addiction, attachment, toxicity. Then on your person's side, we have the full moon, the Six of Swords, child, and healing, shadow work, and inner child work. Interesting. And then for the card that represents the energy in between the two of you, we have waves of change. That is awesome. And when I flipped over this card and showed it to you guys, the camera timer was at 3:45. I know that's not like well, every number can be an angel number, but it's not the typical like repeating numbers that we see. However, it is going up in succession, like 3, 4, 5. And I feel like that is an indication that steady progress is being made in this connection. And you have change for the current energy. So this connection is going through a positive shift. Maybe this is something that you guys already know, like you can literally feel it happening between you and your person. But I do want this to also serve as a confirmation for those of you who have just felt on an energetic level. I feel like the energy is different. I feel like something is shifting in this connection. This is your confirmation that yes, it is. And I just love this image for you guys, like the gateway that we see here. It's like you're stepping through a portal. It feels like a passage into a new stage. You are entering into a new phase of the connection with your person. And with the ocean as well, I'm thinking of the tides, and for some reason I'm imagining like at one point the tide was too high and you couldn't see this doorway, but now the tide is lower and you can finally walk through with your person. It's like things have calmed down, the hard times are over, and you're ready to enter into this new stage. Super positive messages right from the start. I'm really happy to see this. And in fact, I want to talk about the numbers that are here because I feel like these can also be significant. We have the numbers 20, 9, 6, and 38. The number 20 in tarot is associated with the Judgment card, and that has this feeling of the moment of truth, the moment of answering a calling, the moment of moving forward, letting go of the past. There's really feelings of like transformation and entering into a new phase. We also have the number 9, which makes me think of introspection, reflection, healing, and spiritual advancement. The number 6 makes me think of the Lover's card, which is pretty self-explanatory. And then the number 38, if we add this up, it's 11, which makes me think of the Justice card, which is like harmony, balance, partnerships. It all looks very beautiful. In terms of zodiac signs, based on the cards that I just mentioned, Scorpio energy could be significant, Virgo energy, Gemini energy, as well as Libra energy. And then more specific astrological placements, we have Jupiter in Pisces with the 9 of Cups, and Mercury, yes, Mercury in Aquarius with the 6 of Swords. That will be more for those of you who know your particular astrological placements. But yeah, let's get into the you versus them energies. So over here with you, we have listening to what someone has to say. I think that you've been wanting to talk to your person more, or more specifically, you've been wanting them to come and talk to you. You've been wanting them to initiate more. I'm looking at this turtle as well. It could be that this person has been slow to get back to you when you initiate communication, or you have just found that the connection has been moving slowly. I think it's a very positive sign as well that they're flying towards you, like they're literally flying towards your side on a broomstick. But it's like, I want to hear from you more. I want to hear what's on your mind more. I wish that you would open up more. These are the feelings that are coming from you. And the fact that we have the 9 of Cups right next to this, I feel like this has been a really strong wish for you. Like if a genie came and said that they would grant you a wish, you would likely wish that you can hear more from this person, or hear more about this person, or just wish that they would come towards you. I feel like this is something that is very close to your heart. With separation here, you and this person could be in a separation right now. It could be that you haven't even met this person yet, because like I mentioned in the intro, I do want to include interpretations for that sort of connection as well. Or you don't have to be in a full-blown separation, but you could just feel kind of separated or feel distant from this person because you feel like they're holding back, and they're not. It's like you want some kind of answers for them, or you just wish that they could open up more and talk to you more. And I I kind of get the feeling looking at this card, like if this person is distant from you or if this person is separated from you, it kind of feels like a piece of your heart is missing. And maybe it sounds a little bit dramatic, but I think that is really how it feels. And it's kind of sweet. Like as an outsider looking, this connection does look very sweet. With dependency here, this card could be lovingly calling you out that maybe you guys have a history of becoming kind of obsessed with your people of interest, or maybe there was a point where you were kind of obsessively checking on this connection through your own readings or through watching readings, or constantly checking on this person's social media, or constantly opening the chat that you have with them, or just thinking about them a lot and when they're gonna come in. And I feel like there's this dilemma within you guys where on one hand, you feel really drawn to this person and you feel a very intense longing for them. Like I said, it's like a piece of your heart is missing when you can't be close to them. But at the same time, there's a part of you that holds back because you don't want to become obsessed. So it's almost like there's a cynical part of you that checks yourself. And, you know, of course, it's healthy to keep like a good level of emotional detachment and to not get too attached to anyone. But I feel like those two parts of you are at odds. There's the part of you that wants to admit just how much you miss this person. But then there's another part of you that's so afraid of getting overly attached, so afraid of becoming obsessed, that you almost like, you either suppress it or you would like beat yourself up for that part of you, you know? Or think that like you're dumb for thinking about this person so much, or like you shouldn't do that. But I honestly think that your desire to have this person come towards you and open up to you more, it's nothing to be concerned about. It looks quite wholesome to me. Like you have feelings for someone. What's like, that's not a crime. Let yourself feel the things. Let yourself feel the feelings. So over on their end, I am happy to say, I just saw 1122, by the way, 1122. What was I gonna say? Right, so I'm happy to say that judging from what we see on your person's side, this wish of yours is coming true. We can already see this visually, how they are flying towards you. Flying to me indicates a certain level of speed. So if changes aren't happening right now, I do believe that they're going to happen very soon in this connection. I think that your person has done a lot of healing, and this is something that they're currently actively working on. It's quite interesting that we got this repeating message of inner child work and child. Like this person is healing pains from their childhood, possibly that have been holding them back from you or holding them back from this connection because there were walls up, or there were fears that were standing in the way, or they just didn't really have the words to accurately communicate to you what was going on with them. It seems like they've done soul searching, healing. I think that they've realized that a lot of the blockages and a lot of the insecurities they experience in their life do stem from their childhood. And I think this is something that they have been talking about a lot with the people in their life, perhaps with a professional, because this is a card that indicates to me communication. I also think this is indicating that they're ready to communicate with you. We have the Six of Swords next to the full moon, and this is a card that makes me think someone is full of emotion, like they are ready to explode. Their emotions are running high. They're finally facing the extent of their feelings and they're ready to communicate them. So this is what you're feeling. If you're feeling that something has shifted, it's because it has. I think a big shift has happened over on your person's end and they are ready to talk about it. So this could be something that has happened recently and you're wondering if it's going to lead to like a new phase of your connection, and the answer is yes. If this hasn't happened yet, because this is appearing for current energies, this tells me that it's happening like very soon, because sometimes in readings the current energy is also like something in the imminent future. So I would not be surprised if there is like a really deep heart-to-heart happening between you and your person in the very near future. And what I love about both of these tarot cards is that they both represent the stressful times are over and we're moving into peaceful times. This indicates open and honest communication, but also easy communication. So there is a very important conversation coming in the near future with your person, and maybe you have sensed this. But if you're worried that some of the things you have to talk about are going to be hard, they're not going to be hard. And even if you feel nervous right now about the things that you have to talk about, once you get with them, like once you're with them and just talking things through, it's going to feel easy. It's just going to flow so naturally. You're going to remember that there's nothing to be afraid of when you're together, and everything is going to go smoother than you might be imagining now. It really is going to be like a dream come true. And you guys need to know, like, it's not always sunshine and rainbows like this, okay? Like if there's challenging energy, I'm ready to honestly tell you, oh, like this is not looking good, or like there's blockages here, like, but this looks really positive. Like we are starting off group number 1, we're kicking it off with really good energy. So with that being said, let's get into the journey to your union. So to do this part of the reading, we are going to, I just saw 1551, by the way, which is a mirroring number, like 1551. They are, you know, mirror images of each other. So I do think there's a lot of mirroring going on between the two of you. I wouldn't be surprised if you can kind of identify with both sides. And it's interesting that the mirroring number that appears is 15. This is the number of the devil, which indicates like fears that are holding you back, the voice in your head that tells you you aren't good enough. So you guys could have kind of similar insecurities, similar childhood wounds, which you'll be able to talk about and relate to each other and comfort each other and share your perspective on your experience, because maybe you've kind of been through the same experiences, but you processed it in a different way, or you have a different perspective on it. And you can kind of offer a new way of framing the experience to each other, perhaps a more positive one. And then, yeah, the devil, it's also like obsession, attachment. Both of you guys might be afraid of like, it's like you're afraid of becoming obsessed with someone or becoming too attached with someone, that you're always checking yourself. Like, is this too much? Like, am I coming on too strong? Am I thinking too much about this person? Like, just let yourself feel the things. That is my biggest piece of advice to you. Just let yourself feel the way you feel, because actually the more you try to check yourself and question yourself, it's just going to come back stronger. What you resist persists. You might have heard that phrase before. If you just let yourself feel your feelings to the extent that they want to be felt in, it would be healthy, it would be pure. And it's kind of ironic, because in your attempt to not obsess, you actually become obsessive about the connection. So just allow yourself to feel the things. I just got hit with like a wave of emotion when I said that. That in itself might be a childhood wound. Like, am I too much? Am I feeling too much? Am I asking for too much? Am I being too dramatic? That part of you that checks yourself, that might be like the voice of a parent or the voice of an adult from your past that is now, their voice is now living in your head. Yeah. Childhood healing is happening for both of you. So it's also really cute, like the two animals crawling toward each other. There's a turtle for you and a cat for them. So turtles and cats could be significant. Okay, journey to union. This deck shuffles very beautifully, and it's a very beautiful deck as well. Every card has a different spirit animal on it. There's like a little speck of, it's probably like candle ashes or something. Okay, so we are gonna pull cards for your journey, for their journey, and then the union that is in the middle. I just saw 1919, which is the number of the sun, which is like the card of the carefree, innocent, playful, happy child. Yeah, I can already tell you guys, when you're in union with this person, it's just gonna be like your inner children are coming out to play. It's gonna be very wholesome, very pure, full of laughter, full of affection, and full of big displays of emotion. With this person, you laugh very hard, you cry very hard, you feel very hard, you work hard, you play hard, you just live to the fullest. You're not like holding back the reins on yourself, you're really letting yourself experience all of the intensity and the true strength of your emotions. No holding back, no checking yourself in a mean way. And so the cards that we pull here, they are going to be in a chronological order, but you might find that like, oh, this part over here sounds like where I'm currently at, then that will mean you are farther from union. But if you're like, oh, that sounds like my past and this over here sounds like what I'm going through now, then that means you're very close to union, because the middle represents your union, and then the farther out we get, the farther from union. I hope that makes sense. It'll probably make more sense when I when I lay the cards out, but to get an idea of when your union is happening, basically ask yourself, like, where does my current energy fall on this timeline? Okay, so let's start with your journey. What does your journey look like into union with your person? So we're starting off with Justice. Then the Fool. And then the Nine of Wands. Okay. And then for your person's journey, we're starting off with the Queen of Cups. Then Death. Wow. Boop. And then the Seven of Wands. Wow. Your journeys are quite similar. Quite similar. And then the cards to represent your union together. The Two of Wands, beautiful. And the Seven of Pentacles. Okay, lovely. So let's start over here on your side. We're starting off with, yeah, this is what's interesting about your journey, is that you are starting off with 2 major arcana. You have majority major arcana on your side, and this tells me that there is a lot of divine intervention in your journey. And in your journey, the signs and synchronicities are going to be very strong. Like, the universe is going to be very loud with sending you signs and synchronicities about your person. But as we get closer to the union, we have the Nine of Wands. So not a major arcana anymore. and it's the freaking Nine of Wands. So to kind of describe your journey in a nutshell, Spirit is taking you on one heck of a ride as you continue to follow these signs and synchronicities. And I think that you make quite a lot of changes in your life. With the Fool, there's a feeling of a clean slate. There's a feeling of starting completely fresh and taking a leap of faith. And then, wait, I'll talk about this later. But basically, the leap of faith that you guys are taking is one where you're starting to live more for yourself. I feel like before this, your initial energy with Justice, you were a very cautious person. You would think for a long time before making decisions and weigh out all of your possible options and think about all the different scenarios that could play out, all the different outcomes that would happen depending on your actions. Like very calculated about finding the best course of action. And I think you also thought a lot about how your actions are going to affect everybody else, or how they're going to affect people's view of you. It's like you didn't want to ruffle any feathers or rock any boats or go against anybody's expectations of you. You just wanted like everyone else to be happy or everyone else to be comfortable. You could have a lot of Libra placements because people with strong Libra energy do tend to be this way. Someone very close to me has a lot of Libra, and it honestly, like, well, they've changed a lot, but it used to stress me out how much they would think about like making everyone happy and making sure everyone is okay. It's a good trait to have, but when you completely disregard yourself in the process, that's when it becomes a problem. And I think that this leap of faith that you guys will take, you are kind of leaving this past version of you behind. You're becoming a less calculated version of you. These two energies are very different. You can see this dog, he has the scale, he's weighing his options, he's reading up about it, he's gonna make a very informed decision. Whereas this Fool is just ready to frickin' jump off a cliff because, or doesn't even realize that he's about to walk off a cliff because he's distracted by the butterfly, he's distracted by the candy that he's eating. He's just like da 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 da, like going through life without a plan, crossing the bridges as he comes to them. Like, leaving room for spontaneity and leaving room for the magic of the universe. I think that when you're drawing closer to this union, you will feel an urge to dive into a completely new path in life, but with no plan, or a very minimal plan, I should say, which will kind of be something that you've never done before or something that you haven't done in a long time. An easy example of this is like going to another country, like packing up all your stuff and going to another country, and you haven't figured out a job, you haven't figured out where you're gonna live, you haven't learned the language, you're like, I'm just gonna wing it and go there and see what happens. And you might feel like with the Fool, oh my gosh, this is so foolish, like I'm making a dumb decision. But something in you will just push you to take that plunge. But this is where, this is like the kicker, this Nine of Wands. Because I feel like the reason you're able to make this leap of faith is because the universe and your guides are so, like, they are laying it on thick with the signs, with the synchronicities, with the messages, with the readings, with the dreams. Like, everything energetically and everything symbolically is pointing towards this leap of faith. And actually, that's why the Fool has this pet dog. This is like spirit. This is the universe being the loyal companion to the Fool. And the Fool is saying like, I can leap off this cliff because I know that my dog will follow me. That sounds very dark, but I promise it's not. It's like, I'm okay to take this leap of faith because I know that no matter what, the universe will have my back. The universe will catch me. And the universe is laying on those messages and that symbolism very heavily for you. So you feel that courage. But there's a weird test of your commitment happening as this union draws closer. Because I feel like it's almost like the closer you get to union, the weaker the signs and synchronicities become, the more sparse the messages become. And you start to feel like, what is going on? Like, I just made all of these changes. I just took this big leap of faith. And now it feels like silence. It is like a calm before the storm, because there's a couple things that make me think that. One is that we went from consistent major arcana and then we just dropped off to a minor one. So here we feel the fate really strong. We feel the divine support really strong. And then all of a sudden, right before the union, it's like that feeling gets weaker. And because this keyword here and just the meaning of the Nine of Wands, this is like the strength of your will. Like you have it in you to just stick to it and to keep going. It says doing your best even when there's obstacles, like you don't give up, you stick to it. And it feels like a test of your commitment. It really does. So it would be like, if we use that moving example, it would be like this person has gotten so many signs and confirmations that they're meant to make this move. So they feel really empowered, they feel really excited about it. And then they get to that other country after getting all this confirmation that the universe is going to have their back and they're going to be taken care of. They get there and it's like nothing's happening. And then suddenly the messages start to die out. And you're sitting there in this boat like, okay, like what is going on here? And this is the final moments where, for whatever reason, your commitment is being tested. Maybe it's like the universe giving you a last chance to decide if this is something that you really want. Or maybe it's like the universe has taken you this far and the last step is on you. It's based on your action. It's based on your free will. Like, I don't know, you've made it to this person's country, or you've made it into this person's life. The universe is like, I've taken you as far as I can with my guidance. And this last step, it's up to you to walk up to that person. So if you are still feeling like you're this very calculated person, thinking things through a lot, this is the energy of being farther from the union. If you're feeling like you're about to take a leap of faith or you've just taken one, then you're a bit closer. If you're feeling like, what's going on? I just made all these changes to my life. I thought we were going somewhere, and now I'm not getting a lot of messages or signs. What's going on? Then you're very, very close to the union. So this is your side, this is your energy. Now let's look over on your person's side. So in their order, it's the Queen of Cups, Death, and the Seven of Wands. So this person's journey actually starts by going through a spiritual awakening, opening up to and embracing the spiritual side of life. And I have a feeling that your person started off as a huge skeptic. So they might have been the type of person who doesn't believe in, you know, we just have this one life, and when your life is over, that's it. They don't believe in like reincarnation. They don't believe in other dimensions. They don't believe in higher beings. They don't believe in fate. They're like, maybe not to the point of like everything is meaningless, but they're more skeptical about the things that they cannot perceive with their five senses. But something causes them to have a spiritual awakening. And then with the Death card, they are never the same. the Queen of Cups, I do think, is representing them, but it could also be representing a psychic person or a highly intuitive person that plants the seed for them to start questioning if there's something more. You know, sometimes we hear stories of like, I didn't believe in spiritual things and psychics at all, but then a psychic predicted this like situation in my life super accurately, and it was very creepy, and then I started to think that maybe there's more to this. So I think they're having a run-in with like a highly psychic person, or they are having some kind of supernatural experience that they start to question if there's more to just like this 3D physical world. And then as they start to look into it more and more, they really make like the transition with death, because this is like the death of their old self. This is the death of their skeptical self, the death of their, we only have this one body, we only have this one life, we only have these 5 senses, and that's everything that there is. That version of them is gone, and they have transformed into a spiritual person. Now, both of you go through a test before union, which I think is very interesting. For you, it's that you've been guided by these signs and synchronicities and messages and divine support, and then suddenly it falls off. And I think this is a test of like, are you able to believe in yourself, or are you able to believe by yourself and take action without guidance? Can you become your own guide? Can you become your own source of faith now? Can you recognize the divine is not something outside of you that tells you what to do, it's something that is inside of you. So that even when the external confirmation is gone, you can get it from within. I think that's like your final test before moving into this union. Now, they have a final test as well before moving into union with you, but it's a bit different. I think that this person's awakening and transformation is not going to be received well by people around them. So it could be, for example, it could be their family. Oh, maybe they were skeptical. It could also be like, for example, they have a very religious family. And so their family starts to question their beliefs, or maybe they have a friend group who are all very skeptical, and their friend group starts to like clown them, or if that's the right way to say that, starts to make fun of them, like, oh, you really believe in that? Like just people giving them a hard time. And the 7 of Wands, it's about battles, but it's also about choosing your battles. And I feel like at this point, when many significant people in your person's life are starting to question them, or, you know, take jabs at them, or even like turn on them, or just invalidate their experience, they have the choice to be like, oh, you know what, I am being silly, like, I don't know what came over me, and go back to their old ways. So basically invalidate themselves and how they truly feel so that they can fit in. Or they can fight the people on it. Like, no, you don't understand. This stuff is real. Why won't you accept me? Like, they can be, you know, they can fight back. Or they can say, I'm going to choose to not fight this battle, and I'm going to disengage. So like, you don't have to understand my beliefs. You don't have to agree with my views. Like, and we can coexist together. Or if it really makes you upset, then maybe we change. Maybe we redefine our relationship, or maybe we don't move forward together. I hope that's not the case. But you know, some people really care about their belief system, and it does get in the way. So they're kind of faced with that decision. And I think it's more like, are you going to let what these people say get to you and kind of throw away all that you've learned and throw away your transformation just to fit in? Or are you gonna stick to your beliefs, like stick to your guns? And I think they're gonna stick to their guns. That doesn't mean they're gonna fight people. That doesn't mean that they're gonna like go out of their way to prove to other people that their beliefs are valid, but they're just not gonna, they're not gonna succumb to the bullying or succumb to the pressure of fitting in. They're gonna say, this is how I am. Like I'm a spiritual dude now, gender neutral dude. And that's how it's gonna be, and that's how I'm moving forward, and I'm gonna be happy about it. So yeah, it's both kind of a test that's like, will you withstand the pressures? Will you be able to find the strength within yourself to keep believing in yourself and to carry on? And then we have your union in the middle here. So this is what happens when the two of you come together. I really like that we have the Two of Wands because this is a card that talks about partnerships. And the key word that we have for this card is ambition. So when the two of you come together, you bring out each other's motivation to work hard. I get the feeling that both of you are going to be quite successful in your careers, and I do feel like your careers or your creative interests or creative pursuits is going to be something that brings the two of you together. So I don't know, I don't necessarily know if you meet at work. That could be the case for fewer of you, but I think it's more like you're both very ambitious people, and you're both very interested in like self-improvement and growth and building up your career and things like that. So you kind of end up in the same communities and in the same spaces. You could also end up collaborating together in some way. But this feels like how you are going to come together. You also really... I don't know how to say this in a nice way, but like there's nothing stifling about this connection. I guess what I want to say is you don't have to sacrifice anything to be together or like compromise anything to be together. You can be exactly the person you were before you got together, with your same habits, with your same hobbies, with your same like interests. Like you won't be held back in any way. In fact, you'll be encouraged to explore your individuality more. So I think this is indicating that you trust each other a lot. There's no cramping each other's style. There's no like, where are you going? Who are you with? When are you gonna? Well, maybe, but not in a questioning way, not in an interrogating way. It's like, okay, go do what you want to do. Go have fun. Like if you want to go sail the 7 seas in search of your next dreams, like you go do that. I'm rooting for you. It's like whatever each of you want to do, you are in full support, and you will always respect each other's freedom and respect each other's individuality. You will never try to like chain each other down or change each other in any way. It's just like complete freedom and support from each other. That's the way I'm seeing it. I'm going to look at some of the keywords on these cards, like, because these are the ones that describe your union. We do have like reaping the results, and even like this gorilla has a fruit, this squirrel has acorns. So the two of you are going to be very fruitful together. I think both of you, like I said, are going to be quite successful in your respective careers. There's no competition though. I think that your accomplishments inspire each other. So it really inspires you to watch each other succeed. This says like setting your sights even higher. So the two of you might call each other out for ways in which you underestimate yourself, and you kind of challenge each other to go higher. So, and I think the two of you, you love to talk about the future together. You love to talk about your goals and like how you want to grow in the next year and like what milestones you want to hit and how you want to evolve. You speak about that enthusiastically, and you listen to each other enthusiastically about that. And you challenge each other to go bigger because you're like, oh, come on. Like, I know that you can do more than that. The kind of feeling. Choosing your direction. So I think you share a lot. You like to report back to each other a lot. You like to keep each other updated a lot about what's going on in your life and kind of run things by each other. It's funny because you give each other so much freedom to just like go do whatever you want. But I think that you naturally gravitate towards each other of like, I want to share with you what's going on and I want your input and like I want to know how you feel about this, which is really sweet. Like there's a lot of sharing that goes on, and I think you help each other, you know, make decisions about what direction to take your life next or take your career next. I have a feeling that the two of you either don't have the same job or you don't have the same workplace. It doesn't feel like a situation of like meeting at work and doing the exact same job. And I don't know why I feel like specifying that, but it's like, I guess I want to indicate that you have your own things going, but you're very involved in each other's things because you love hearing about it. And you would probably gain a lot of specialized knowledge about the other person's job. I don't know why this just came to mind, but like, let's say your person is a police officer and your job has like nothing to do with that, but you will then learn a lot about like crime and the law and like all the lingo. Almost like you would become like a specialist just because you hear so many stories and you're so invested in what your partner is doing. That is the kind of vibe. For those of you who haven't met your person yet, or you're just wondering more about the how are we actually coming together, I want to just pull one more card here. Ooh. The King of Cups. Oh, we have the King of Cups and the Queen of Cups. I think you, yeah, it's not coming through specifically like the exact location or the exact way, but just know that the universe is going to put you and your person in the same space, and it will be you who goes and approaches them. Because they're the Queen of Cups, you're the King of Cups that is swimming toward them. And I kind of got that feeling when we were reading your energy as well. Because I feel like the divine guidance drops off because it's like, it's your turn now. It's your turn to make your fate now. So it's kind of like, will you have the confidence to go up to this person? Will you trust your gut when your gut tells you like that's them, or like this is your time? Yeah, so you'll be the one to approach them. And I think the interaction, it's going to flow very naturally. It's going to be very heart-centered. Like you go right into talking about your deep emotions, even if it's the first meeting. And you're very compassionate of each other and very supportive of each other. Yeah, this makes a lot of sense as a clarifier. The divine guidance is dropping off because it's your test to follow your heart. The King of Cups is very much about following your heart. I think a lot of you, even if you haven't met this person in the 3D yet, I think a lot of you know who this person is. Like, you feel their energy very strongly, even if you haven't met yet. And when you do meet in person, there will be no mistaking it. Like, yep, this is them. And it's, can you trust that and move towards them without the external confirmation of your guides being like, yep, that's them. And maybe it's a harsh way of saying it, but it's almost like your guides saying you should know by now. After all of this heck of a ride we went through, after all of this journey, you should know by now to trust that your intuition is correct, and yes, this is them, and yes, it is safe to go over and make a move to them. It's interesting too, like, when you come into union, you might be more in your masculine energy and they might be more in their feminine energy, regardless of your genders. So yeah, Two of Wands, we spoke about this representing your union. Let's talk about the Seven of Pentacles representing your union. We have the keyword of reevaluating, which is interesting because this also talked about like choosing a new path. So I just think you make each other realize how many options there really are out there for you in life, and how you can be doing more and you can be achieving more. It's like you help each other to stop settling, and you help each other to stop underestimating yourselves. Very interesting. And also, this says you're getting results for your effort. And then here it says you got results for your effort, but you're not as satisfied as you thought, or like it's not as much as you thought. I think you're helping each other get more out of life. Like recognizing that you truly deserve more, building up in each other the confidence and the assertiveness to ask for more out of life, but also just to feel more worthy of receiving and feel more comfortable with receiving. Both of these cards also talk about like plans for the future and moving forward. The Seven of Pentacles gives me a feeling of planning your long-term future. So I think that when you do come into union, you start having talks about the long-term future very quickly. Like you're already, for example, if this is romantic, it's like you're already talking about marriage like in the first few weeks of dating, or like after a month, which like to me that sounds fast, maybe not to you, but subjectively it feels fast, because it's like you just kind of already know, you know, like you're tapped into your intuition. They chose to believe in themselves. They chose the spiritual path. Like you're both tapped in. And I think it just feels right to share so much with each other and talk about your long-term future, because you know that your long-term future is together. And also something that's really sweet about the Seven of Pentacles is a feeling that everything was worth the wait. So, and I love this combination because like the Seven of Pentacles is like, I feel secure, I feel safe, everything is okay. And I'm also feeling super like revved up and excited for the future. Aw, just sweet energy from start to finish. I love to see that. So I think that these are all the messages that I have for my group number ones. So we're going to take it over to the extended reading now, just to remind you guys. In the extended reading, we're going to see, based on your current energies, what is a specific timing that you can expect this union to happen, and what could speed up this timing, what could slow down this timing, what could change the situation. And then we are going to get a message directly from your person. So if that sounds good to you and you'd like to join me over in the extended reading, it's going to be linked down below in the description and in the pinned comment. However, if you're going to leave the reading here, I'll say thank you very much for letting me do this reading for you. I hope you have a wonderful day or night whenever you're watching, and I wish you all the best. Please take good care of yourself, stay healthy. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe if you feel like doing that. If you enjoy my content and you'd like to find me elsewhere, you can find me on Instagram. I post regular pick a card readings there. You can find me on Patreon, where we have over 50 exclusive pick a card readings to date, plus 2 new ones every month, and you guys get to choose the topic for those. You can find me on my music channel. The song that you guys heard at the very start of this video was an original song, so if you're interested in listening to the full version of that song or any of my other ones, you can do so over on my music channel. And finally, we have merch at KINOtarot.com, which features the floating temple that was at the start of this video, and we have that on hoodies, sweatshirts, mugs, and tote bags. So all that stuff that I just mentioned is going to be linked down below for you in the description and in the pinned comment. Thank you so much for supporting me and for supporting my channel. It truly means a lot to me. Group number ones, I'm sending you so much love to your person, to all of your loved ones, your spirit guides, and your spiritual teams, both here on earth and in the spirit realms. And I will see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye. Hi number twos, so if you guys chose the Amethyst and the Livett the Ghost Tarot, this is going to be a reading all about how and when you will come into union with your person. So I want to start off by showing you guys the list of everything that is going to be covered in the reading today. We do have an extended today, but over here on YouTube, we are going to start off with the current energies of your connection. So we'll take a look at your energy, their energy, and the overall energy between the two of you. So basically what is going on right now in this connection. And then we are going to jump into your journey into union. And so for this part of the reading, we're going to see what is the sequence of events and experiences that you will go through and that they will go through that ultimately bring you together. How are you going to come together or come back together? And what is that union going to be like? So once you do come into union, what will your relationship together be like? And then over in the extended reading, we are going to get a specific timing of union based on the current energies. And I added this part because your union and the specific timing of your union is not set in stone. Of course, you both have free will. And so the specific timing that we see is just based on your current energies at the time that you're watching. And with that in mind, we are also going to see what could potentially speed up union and make it easier, and what could potentially slow down union and make it more difficult. And then we are going to finish off the extended with a message directly from your person, what they wish they could tell you. So that is everything that we're going to be looking at today. Let's get right into it. We're going to start off by looking at the current energies, and to do that, we're going to be using oracle cards. So I will put the cards representing you over here and the cards representing them over here, and then your overall energy together will go in the middle. If you listen to this part and you feel kind of like the energies are reversed, this is more like them and this is more like you, that's totally fine. You are welcome to switch the energies around. You may also find that you resonate with both sides, and that is totally fine too. I literally saw 222 when I said that, so maybe there is some mirroring going on between the two of you, but when you resonate with both sides, that's usually the case. You and your person are probably mirroring each other. However, if you don't really resonate with either side, then you might want to try listening to a different pile, or this just might not be your reading today, which is also fine. So let's get into it, starting off with your cards. We have watching over, the Queen of Cups, Man, and Passion, creative energy, enthusiasm, drive. Okay, lovely energy on your end. Over on your person's side, we have running away, the Two of Swords, no, the Two of Wands. And then we have negative energies, and union, unity, oneness, merging. And for the energy that exists between the two of you right now, we have emergence. Okay, so a couple things that I'm noticing straight away. You and your person have the same number on both sides, because you have the number 32 here and your person has 30 and 2, which adds up to 32. So maybe that's again a confirmation that there's a little bit of mirroring going on. If I'm being honest, when I look at the meaning of the cards, the energy on your side and the energy on their side does seem pretty different actually. So we'll see as we go along. But the other thing that I'm noticing is the waxing moon in this emergence card. The waxing moon means that the energy is growing, because this moon, the phase that it's in, it's going to keep growing and growing until it reaches the full moon. So I feel like in the connection right now, there is some sort of buildup that's happening. Like the energy is building up to a climax, like to a point of culmination. And maybe you have felt this sort of buzzing energy around this connection, or something is bubbling beneath the surface. You might even feel a bit of tension, I'm hearing, and feel kind of antsy, like something is building and something is about to happen. I'm not sure what that is. We will get into it as we look through the cards, but I feel like this waxing moon is significant. This doesn't really have to do with your connection, but I do feel like at this time, both of you will have a lot going on in your life. You'll have a lot to be thinking about, a lot to be multitasking on. It seems kind of busy. It seems kind of go, go, go for both of you. Yes. So another thing that I noticed, first of all, can I just say I love the energy on your side. I think it's really cool that you have this man card, but you also have the Queen of Cups. You have a masculine archetype and a feminine archetype. And this is letting me know that your energy is really balanced right now. Your energy just looks really beautiful. I don't know if you guys have been doing a lot of work on healing or personal growth or self-development, or just trying to get in tune with your higher self, but it's really showing that way here. So I want to give you guys a really big pat on the back for committing to yourself and for cultivating this immaculate energy that you have. And I love that we have passion here as well. I feel like this is a time for you where you are going to be full of inspiration and having a lot of fun with what you do. Some of you guys, not just building up yourself and your confidence, but some of you guys could be enthusiastically working on building up your career or business, or very passionate about studying something. You could be working on creative projects or just enjoying creative expression more. You seem to be in a very creative and passionate energy, and I just love that for you. And if you're not feeling this yet, you're going to feel this way very soon, because sometimes, and I said this for group number 1 as well, sometimes the current energy that we see in the reading can also be the imminent energy. So, you know, it's going to be here very, very soon from the time that you are watching this. And it's very beautiful as well that we have both a masculine energy and a feminine energy within you supporting this passion. The feminine energy is the more creative one. It allows you to express yourself freely. It allows you to brainstorm, explore different worlds, explore different realms, explore different aspects of your consciousness. The masculine energy takes all of that and gives it structure and applies it to the real world. So, and you know, gives you discipline and gives you a schedule and gives you execution. So just to give an example, if you're trying to make a musical album, then this feminine energy, I feel like, is the one that has the inspirations and has the beautiful ideas and has the melodies that touch people's hearts and move them to tears, and the ethereal energy that they want to share with the world. And then the masculine energy is like, okay, well, how are we going to get this out there? I'm going to contact this, well, publishing company is not for music, but you know what I mean. Is the one that goes out there into the world and says, how are we gonna give this beautiful idea a tangible shape in the world and discipline ourselves to make it and get it out into the world? And I feel like those two energies within you are working together very, very well. I feel like you guys are about to produce something very beautiful into the world. Your work is about to produce beautiful results. I hope that that was an adequate explanation, but your feminine and masculine energies are working together very well, like the creativity and the execution. So with this watching over you card, I very much think that this is your spirit guides watching over you with pride and support of what you're doing. But because this reading is about your connection to your person, I also think it's an indication that you are watching over them. Now, this could be in a literal sense, like you are checking up on them quite a bit, wondering about them, worrying about them quite a bit. But I actually feel for many of you, you're more focused on your own thing right now but very much sending love and healing energy to your person, because I think you can sense that your person needs that right now. So I guess I see you in a place of healthy detachment from the connection. Of course, there's a love there, there's a desire there. I think you wish your person the best, but at the same time, it looks like you're focused on your own thing, and it's a really beautiful energy. Now let's take a look at your person's energy. We have this running away card, and it's weird because I feel like this person is simultaneously running to you and running away from you. This card, I do think it's the Two of Wands, but for some reason at first I thought it was the Two of Swords. And I think that I'm kind of reading it as a mixture of both. And yeah, like two directions. Are you running towards me or running away from me? It's kind of confusing. And the way I'm feeling it is that this person is in love with your energy. This person loves being in your presence. They find your energy to be incredibly healing. They also find you to be very inspiring. They find you to have an ethereal beauty. And being around you, it makes them feel alive, like it really lights their soul on fire. But there is something coming through, like they run to you. I don't know if this is the perfect wording, but they run to you almost as a form of escapism. So like if things are going wrong in their life, or if they're stressed or overwhelmed or sad about something, they would run to you because being in your presence or being around your energy heals them. Like it literally heals them and takes their attention off of whatever is ailing them. But then at the same time, when it gets serious, or when it gets to talks of like a serious commitment, that's when they run away. And now that I describe it, it sounds a bit like a have your cake and eat it too kind of energy that they're in. But it's like, I run towards you for the energy and for the escape and for the feeling that it brings me. But I run away when it comes to prospects of the future, or like a solid, tangible commitment, or a clearly defined connection. It looks like a little bit of a commitment issue. And actually, it makes a lot of sense then to interpret this as both a Two of Wands and a Two of Swords. Okay. If I interpret this in a Two of Wands way, it could be that this person wants to keep their options open. Even if they don't have other options, it's like the idea of having options that they want to hold on to. But I feel more of a Two of Swords-y vibe for most of these people, where it's this feeling of being on the fence. It's a feeling of not knowing what to do. I don't think that this person is intentionally running both ways, like simultaneously running towards you and away from you. I don't think that's on purpose, and I don't think they like that they're doing that. I think it even confuses them. And when I look at this negative energy, this is the message that came through, and it's kind of interesting. I think that you're honestly coming through in a very healthy and healed energy. And I think that the attachment that you have to your person is also quite healthy. Like, you're just all love. Like, you are just sending them love. You're just sending them good vibes. You treat them well. You check up on them because you care about them. You watch over them. Like, the energy that you send their way is really beautiful. But for some reason, like, they're averse to it, or it makes them uncomfortable. And I think the reason for that is because they have a kind of, toxic past or a past that is not ideal. And the example that's coming to my mind is, like, let's say this person has dealt with a lot of neglect in their life. So maybe their parents neglected them, or previous love interests didn't really pay a lot of attention to them. It's almost as if they became acclimatized to that, so that feels like normal. And then when someone like you shows love and care and concern and pays attention and checks up on them, it's like, whoa, 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 like, why are you smothering me? Like, you're too clingy. When it's like, no, I'm treating you with love and respect. I'm showing a concern for you. I'm caring about you. But when someone is so used to, it's almost like this person is used to having to chase someone. They're used to having to fight for someone's attention and affection and love and validation, that when someone freely gives it to them without them having to prove themselves or beg for it, it feels wrong. And almost like turns them off in a way. And I'm not saying that like you turn this person off, because I think it's very much the opposite, but it doesn't feel natural to them or comfortable to them, this like style of attaching or this style of communicating. It's like, you're just gonna give me this love and reassurance and I don't have to fight for it. Like, ew, that's weird. Like, we just adapt to the way we get treated, right? And then that becomes our norm. And sometimes things outside of it can feel uncomfortable. And I have heard that, you know, if you come from a past of toxic relationships, a healthy one can feel like the toxic one when really it's healthy. So I think that your person is going through a little bit of something like that. There is a part of them that is averse to the way you care for them, which sounds very strange when I say it out loud. But we do have emergence here, which it is making me think of skeletons coming out of the closet, or we're seeing truths that we couldn't see before because they were submerged. You know, water is a symbol of emotions, and it can also symbolize the subconscious, which is often, it's very hard to grasp things that are in the subconscious because it's like water, you can't hold it in your hands. So emergence could be that they're kind of starting to put the pieces together. We have this, I'm just gonna read it as the Two of Swords. It honestly feels more like that. We have this indecision, we have this duality, and then we have this duality here of like negative energy versus union. And it's very interesting how the colors are so similar here. I feel like your person very much realizes that they have to make a choice. Like, they can continue to be in this negative energy, embrace the way of being that they've had until now, or they can choose union, they can choose love. But it's easier said than done to break these patterns, right? Because old patterns are very sneaky, and they can convince you that they're meant to be there. They really can have a hold over you. And even, I just noticed the person running away has a black cat and a white cat, which is also like duality, holding these contradicting energies at the same time and having to choose. And it's like, do I run towards this or do I run away from it? So, I mean, this could be a very powerful revelation for your person. We'll have to see which way it goes, or which way it's likely to go. But yeah, I guess the honest and maybe not so ideal reading that we have here is that they're kind of on the fence right now about this connection and about you and about what to do. So this is the energy check for the two of you. So we're gonna get into your journey now. And we'll be using the tarot deck that you guys chose. So basically, I'm going to start with you over here and your person over here. And then we'll kind of go through chronologically the events and experiences that you'll have that will ultimately lead you to the union. And then the cards representing your union will be in the middle. And so you can read this like a timeline where the events here are farther away from union and the events here are happening like very, very close to your union. So to kind of figure out where you're at in the journey and when union will be happening, you just kind of like look at what's going on in your timeline, if that makes sense. So you're like, if you feel like, oh, I'm in this energy here, then that would indicate you're farther away from union. But if you're like, oh, I already went through that, I'm more over here right now, then it means you're very, very close. I hope that makes sense, but let's get into it. I think it will make more sense like when I lay out the cards. Okay, so what is the journey? What is your journey to union with this person? We're starting off with the Six of Wands. Then we have the Queen of Wands. And then the Ten of Swords. Okay, so then over on, oh, I think this is upside down. Over on your person's energy, we have the King of Wands, very interesting. Then we have the Nine of Pentacles, or no, wait, this is the Nine of Wands, sorry. It's funny that like, when I read your side, obviously like I know what all of the cards are, and then when I read your person's side, I'm like, oh, is it this card? Oh no, I think it's that card. So they're just in a confusing energy, and I think it's hard to read them, and you could like read them wrong at times, or they could give messages or signals to you that are just like, what do you mean? Yeah, they're confusing for sure. Elusive, like with this running away. And then we have the Death card. Wow. So let's also pull a couple of cards in the middle to represent the energy of union. Wow, okay, we have the Four of Wands. Woo, that's a lot. Let's, that's a lot. Okay, let's try that again. Okay, Four of Wands and the Three of Swords. This makes sense. So right away, there's very strong indications of a separation happening before a union. Like I mentioned in the intro, union is not set in stone for anyone because obviously we have free will always, and there are multiple potential paths that we can take our life in, and also multiple people that we can have a happy union with. I do think that if you were to come together with this person, there would be a separation first. There would be a letting go first. We can see that clearly on both of your sides. The cards that come before your union have to do with ending, release, and letting go. So that's very clear right from the start. And then we also have the Three of Swords in your union, which is a card that makes me think of like separation, sadness, heartbreak, but also the potential for healing. So it kind of looks like, it looks to me like a separation where you're very much doing your own thing, living your own life, going on your own adventures, and you come back together, not as different people, but just with a lot more experiences and lessons and maturity under your belt. And it's like you realize you realize how special your connection is, because after all this time, you're still so happy and excited to see them. And it's in that moment that you realize how much you missed them. Like, we have this card of heartbreak and like missing someone in your union. Whereas when you're doing your own thing, it feels very happy and free. So it's not a situation where, I'm not saying you're going to be separated for any amount of time yet, but just for an example, let's say you didn't see each other for like 5 years. It doesn't mean that you're going to be actively missing each other for 5 years and pining over each other for those 5 years. Like, you're very much going to be free from that burden and free from that heartbreak and thriving, living your best life. And then it's when you come back together that the sadness kind of hits, if that makes sense. It's when you come back together that you realize, holy shit, I actually missed you a lot. And I'm so happy to see you right now. And it kind of surprises you. Like, I didn't realize how much I would miss you after all this time. I didn't realize how happy I would be to see you. And some of you will even be surprised in the sense of you thought the opposite. Like, I just had this image of you, like you're having lunch with a friend or something, and they ask you about your person, and you're like, oh no, I'm over them, like I don't care anymore. And your friend is like, what would you do if they like showed back up in your life? Or like, what would you do if they texted you? And you're like, I wouldn't care, I wouldn't respond, like I'm over it. Like, you genuinely think that, but then when it actually happens and they actually text you, you surprise yourself with how over the moon you are. You're like, what the heck? Like, I thought I was over this person. So it doesn't like weigh on you and haunt you the whole time you're separated. But when you come back, you're hit with all of that joy again. And that is kind of bittersweet, that realization of how much you missed each other. So there is like and I would guess that it's pretty long, because it feels like you go through significant life experiences during this separation and build up your best life and really start thriving. Maybe you're in this separation right now, maybe it's coming, but I can see that there is one, like, quite clearly. And you're both kind of going through very similar things during this time. We have the King and the Queen of Wands here. I think that in this journey, regardless of the genders of you and your person, I think that they're more in like the divine masculine energy and you're more in the divine feminine energy, which is not, it doesn't really matter, but that could be a confirmation for some of you. Fire signs could be significant. We have Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius. Interestingly, you have a Leo card on your side and they have a Sagittarius card on their side. If you're not fire signs, this could be indicating that your signs are the same element. You know, like you're both water signs, you're both air signs, or you both have a lot of the same element in your chart, you know? Like, you have a lot of earth placements, they have a lot of earth placements. You guys, I think you guys get the picture. We also have Scorpio energy here with the Death card, and we have Gemini energy with the 10 of Swords. So it looks like you're both on this journey to self-discovery and becoming your best self, and more specifically, seeing what the best version of you can create. What comes from the best version of you? I'm sorry, I just had a really weird visual experience. Have you ever had this experience where you're like walking down a path and you're walking, and then you suddenly stop walking, and then your eyes are not used to the fact that you're not walking anymore. So for just a moment, it looks like the scenery is moving away from you. Please let me know if you know what I mean. But it's like your brain is so used to the scenery moving because you're walking that when you stop, there's like that second where it looks like the earth is moving away from you. And I literally just had that when I was staring at the desk. Obviously, I'm not walking, but it looked like the desk was moving away from me as if I had just been walking and suddenly stopped. And I think for some of you, this separation could happen extremely abruptly. Whether that's like a cutting contact situation or something escalates and blows up and you're like, I don't understand how this ended. Like, I thought we were just having a conversation and then it turned into this big argument. Like, I don't get it. It feels kind of shocking or unexpected and just like sudden. But what I was talking about is that you're both on this journey to becoming your best self. And I think that they are kind of quicker to embrace that. I think it comes a bit later for you. So, I think that something that you guys are healing, and honestly, judging from your energy here, I would say you're very much embodying this Queen of Wands energy right now, or you're in the process of embodying it. And honestly, I'm not really reading this like a timeline like I said I was. I think it's just, this is your energy, this is their energy. Something that you're healing is the idea that you need something or someone outside of you to be worthy or to be successful. I think you're really realizing that you have everything you need to be happy and successful within you. Like, your talent is enough. Your strength is enough. You're already worthy just the way you are. You might have gone through a period where there was a certain person or certain people whose validation really mattered to you. And it was almost like, I'll be worthy if I get this person's validation, or I'll be successful if I get this person's validation. For some of you, it could be your person that we're reading for right now. Like, their validation means a lot. It could also be parents, it could be teachers, but there's this feeling of like, let's say I'm like, I put Lady Gaga on a pedestal and I'm like a talented musician and I'm like making moves and becoming successful, but because I have this weird attachment to Lady Gaga, I'm like, none of this matters unless Lady Gaga is proud of me. Or like, none of this matters unless I can meet Lady Gaga and collab with her, because she is the standard. Like, if she thinks I'm good, if she recognizes my hustle, if she's proud of me, if she says I'm a good musician, then I am. It's like, I would make this weird attachment with her for my validation. And it doesn't matter if like a million other people say I'm the most amazing musician in the world. And so, yeah, for some of you guys, it might be a parent or literally this person, but there is that kind of feeling of needing a specific validation to feel worthy, or feeling like you need someone's help to be worth something. And I think this transformation that's happening here is like, screw that. I am enough on my own. I am an amazing person, an amazing musician, an amazing blank, because I said so. You're claiming your power back, essentially. But with that being said, I do think there is a lot of external validation coming your way with this Six of Wands. This is like victory, being recognized for your efforts. It's interesting, we have a flower here and then the Queen of Wands has all these flowers. I see you in front of an audience. I see you in front of a following. So we spoke about you having a lot of passion and enthusiasm towards something. Whatever that is, it's going to take you very far, and it is going to amass a following, whether that's your goal or not. But I feel like there is this period where even though you're killing it and doing really well, like deep down you just might not feel great about it. Maybe I'll just use myself as an example, honestly. Like, there is this person who I used to like, and I just really wanted their validation. And so even when I was, you know, like, and it has to do with like career success. So that's why I'm using my channel as an example. But it's like, even when my channel was growing and I was like thriving and doing things that I should have been proud of, I still didn't feel like it was enough because I was just so obsessed with that specific person liking me back. So, and it's so weird, like now that I'm out of the situation and look back on it, I'm like, that's so random. Like, why? Like, why that person? It's weird, like the things our brain does. But anyway, yeah. And I think that, and it's not to say like, oh, I should stop caring about that one person's validation and care about all these other people's validation instead, like my viewers. But it's realizing that at the end of the day, that external stuff is not going to make you worthy because you already were in the first place. And when you realize that, like, I'm not going to lie, external validation still feels good, but it's more of an icing on the cake thing. And it's a confirmation of like, I'm making a positive impact. So yeah, I guess you're repairing your relationship with validation and repairing your relationship with your feelings of worthiness and really believing in yourself that you can accomplish whatever you set your mind to, and you are enough and you are good enough and you do have what it takes. And we're not doing it for anyone. You're doing it for you. You're doing it for the passion of it. The Queen of Wands is very, very full of passion. I think you're getting intrinsic passion from what you do, and intrinsic motivation. So you're doing something for the love of doing it, not for the things that you think it will bring you, like money or popularity. It's the actual process of doing it that you love. So if you don't love what you do for a living or what you're doing out there in the world right now, the future you is very much passionate about what they do, and it's intrinsic. So it's like, I don't need to get something external from this for it to be worthwhile. It's actually the process of doing it that I love, if that makes sense. So yeah, this is you thriving. And you will reach a point where you feel like you're over this person and you actually believe it. I feel like at this point you might have that niggling feeling like this will never go away. And fun fact, I also felt that way about that person whose validation I really wanted. I was like, you know, I don't know if these feelings are ever gonna go away, because like sometimes I feel like I'm fine and then every now and then it just like hits me again. But it's just like gone, like truly. So I think you will reach that part, but the difference between you and me is that you got a union happening after that will surprise you. So yeah, you're actually like, I don't want to say convinced, because then it sounds like you convinced yourself and it's not really true, but you will be over your person at one point and just like doing you, living your life amazingly, living your best life. And then there's like a surprise reunion, which I think is fated with this 1111 card, with this 4 of Wands, but it does feel very happy. It feels like a celebration. I think the people in your life will be happy too. So this separation that happens between the two of you, it's not like oh, screw them then, like I hate them, like I never want to see them again. It's just that you get over them. And your friends and the people around you or whatever it is, they support that decision and support you in your new life and support you in living your best life. But then when the reunion happens, they're also happy and supporting you. So like, I don't think there was ever hard feelings, at least not lasting hard feelings. Because at the end of the day, we all just want both of you to be happy, and we'll support you no matter what. So yeah, over on their end, I think that they're going to be the one to come back into your life. We can see that here as well. The person running away is running towards you. You're not looking, you don't see it coming. Queen of Wands, she's just looking forward. And then this deer or whatever runs towards the queen. So they're going to be the one to come back into your life. You are not going to expect it. Forget that I told you, so it's a surprise. But yeah, I feel like you are letting your true feelings come up right away. So when the separation happens, you're letting yourself go through all the emotions, and so you're allowing yourself to heal right away. Whereas I feel like they might have a little period of suppressing first. And then they kind of realize later what they've been suppressing. You are missing them right away. You are healing right away. They're kind of putting it off on a shelf for a while and going about their life until something triggers them again. And I think, you know, looking at this crying child, it could actually be learning more about their childhood wounds. And that makes a lot of sense. Okay, I'm going to go back to the example of someone who sees neglect in their close relationships as the norm. That is something that they learned from their childhood, and that affects their relationships as an adult. Like we said before in the example, like when someone shows them true, like genuine love and care, they're like, ah, that's too much. So they are going through their life either not noticing this or just putting it to the side when something brings it to their attention again. So in this example, they might, through some divine intervention, realize like, oh, what happened to me in my childhood was not normal. The way I was treated was not acceptable. And the way I've been rejecting genuine love and care because I didn't recognize it as something normal or healthy, like, damn, that's messed up. So they're having this realization a bit later on. I feel like they have a niggling feeling about it now, but they're kind of just like pushing it away. Because you can definitely do that. Like you have that feeling of, something's a bit wrong. Maybe this is not healthy. Whatever, it's fine. And I think that they've been doing that. But when they learn that what happened in their childhood was not okay, it kind of reframes how they've been behaving as an adult. Because they realize how that childhood experience and how normalizing those relationship dynamics really sabotaged them for having meaningful connections. And with the 9 of Wands, there's a feeling of being very guarded. It's like they're realizing how guarded they've been, but there's also a feeling of not wanting to give up and not wanting to let go of what you've built. And I think it's like, they're realizing that they don't want to let go of the connection with you, and they don't want to let go of what they had with you. Like they want to keep fighting. And I think that's kind of the catalyst that makes them run back into your life. Now, of course, and I think I'm saying this a third time, but you have free will. Everybody in this situation has free will. So I'm not saying like, oh, you're going to go through the separation, but they're going to come back later and then you must be together. But I do think that when it does happen, you'll be surprisingly very, very happy to hear from them. And I don't think that there will be any hard feelings. I think that there will be just love. And you'll realize how much you missed each other. And that's what I see here with these 2 cards representing your union. So in terms of how you come together, there's a letting go, there's a going about your own life, achieving your own dreams, and they will kind of be the one to suddenly rush back in. And like I said, I do feel like the separation is significantly long. For some of you, it could be like years, especially for those of you who like have already been in this separation for quite some time. But this isn't a situation of like, oh, they stopped replying to your text for 2 weeks, but now they're back. It feels like a bit more of a longer term thing. But so much joy when everything comes back together. So group number 2s, this is what I am seeing for your journey into union with this person. So we're going to take it over to the extended now. And there we are going to see a specific timing of union, and we'll look at the reunion. A specific timing of your reunion based on these current energies. So it's not set in stone. It could be sooner, it could be later. And we'll also take a look at what could make it sooner and what could make it later. Like what actions on your part or their part could change the timeline. And then we will get a message directly from your person of what they wish that they could tell you. So if that sounds good to you and you'd like to join me over in the extended, that's going to be linked down below for you in the description as well as in the pinned comment. However, if you're going to leave the reading here, I'll say thank you very much for letting me do this reading for you. I hope you have a wonderful day or night whenever you're watching, and I wish you all the best. Please take good care of yourself, stay healthy. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe if you feel like doing that. If you enjoy my content and you'd like to find me elsewhere, you can find me on Instagram. I post regular pick a card readings there. You can find me on Patreon, where we have over 50 exclusive pick a card readings to date, plus 2 new ones every month, and you guys get to choose the topic for those. You can find me on my music channel. The song that you guys heard at the very start of this video was an original song, so if you're interested in listening to the full version of that song or any of my other ones, you can do so over on my music channel. And finally, we have merch at KINOtarot.com, which features the floating temple that was at the start of this video, and we have that on hoodies, sweatshirts, mugs, and tote bags. So all that stuff that I just mentioned is going to be linked down below for you in the description and the pinned comment of this video. Thank you so much for supporting me and for supporting my channel. It truly means a lot to me. My lovely group number 2s, I'm sending so much love to you, to your person, to all of your loved ones, to your spirit guides and your spiritual teams, both here on earth and in the spirit realms. And I will see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye. Hi number 3s, so if you guys chose the Ruby Zoisite and the Ethereal Visions Tarot, this is going to be a reading all about your journey into union with your person. So I want to start off by showing you guys the list of everything that's going to be covered in the reading today. We have the reading here on YouTube as well as an extended reading today, but over here on YouTube, we're going to start by seeing the current energies between you and your person. So we'll take a look at your energy, and then their energy, and then the energy of the connection overall. And then we're going to jump right into your journey to union with each other. So in this part of the reading, we are going to see what series of events and what experiences on your side and on their side will eventually lead you into the union together. And then we're going to see, once you do get into union, what is that going to be like? What type of relationship are you going to have? And then over in the extended reading, we are going to see the specific timing of your union based on the current energies. And I added this is very important, because your union and the specific timing of your union is not set in stone. Both of you, everybody actually, has free will. So the specific timing that we get is just based on the current energies at the time that you are watching. And with that in mind, we're also going to see what could make this union happen faster or more easily, and what could make this union happen slower or make it more difficult. And then we're going to finish off the extended reading with a message directly from your person of what they wish that they could tell you. So that's everything that we're going to be looking at today. We're going to start off with the energy check of your connection, and to do that we're going to be using some oracle cards. So I will lay out your cards on this side, their cards on this side, and your shared energy in the middle. However, if you hear the descriptions and you feel like they're switched, that is more like them and that's more like you, it's totally fine to flip the energies around. You might also find that you resonate with the energy on both sides. That's totally fine too. In fact, that is a strong indication that you and your person are mirroring each other. But if you don't really resonate with either side, you might want to try listening to a different pile, or this just might not be your reading today. So With all that being said, let's take a look at the oracle cards, starting with the ones to represent your energy. So we have support, the Six of Pentacles, trust, and retreat. Self-love, self-care, contemplation, and rest. And then over on your person side, we have don't get hurt, or so you don't get hurt. We have the Emperor. Deliverance. And guidance, wisdom, learning, new information. And then let me just move these so we have room for the card in the middle. The card to represent the energy between the two of you is Luminous Path. Okay, so I just want to mention right away, we have some Aries energy present here with the Emperor. So you or your person could have Aries placements. And then with the Six of Pentacles, we have Taurus energy, more specifically the moon in Taurus. And then for numbers that are here, we have a 4, a 6, 39, which reduces to 3, and 8. So what is that? 3, 4, 6, or 8 could be significant numbers for this group. What I'm picking up initially, and keep in mind that this is just the current energies of the connection, it does feel a little bit one-sided right now. I think that we're in an energy where you are giving to the other person or giving to this connection quite a bit more than they are giving back to you. However, there's a couple different ways that I can interpret this depending on your situation. I think for some of you, it's almost like it makes sense that things should be this way right now because of the circumstances. For example, your person might be going through a very hard time right now, like they are grieving, or they went through a significant loss, or they're going through a rough patch in their mental health. They're facing some challenges. And in that case, it's kind of like, well, of course, I'm going to pick up the slack a little bit for them. I think some of you guys are very much okay with this one-sidedness because like it's temporary. It's based on a certain circumstance. Especially if this person has been in your life for quite some time, then you might feel okay with this because you know that like it's just for this period of time and I trust this person, and I know that if I'm ever in a dark place or if I ever can't show up to the connection the way that I want to, then they'll be there for me, they'll be there to help me. So for some of you, I don't feel like it's that big of a problem. I wanted to mention with this, it's kind of hard to translate. It does mean support, but it's like someone is supporting you because this is on your side. Someone is supporting you. So it feels like for some of you, you're like, I know this person will support me when I need them. We have the Six of Pentacles as well, which is about being generous to others and also lending a helping hand. And then we have trust too. So yes. One interpretation of this is that this one-sidedness is only temporary and there's nothing to worry about. However, if this is something that has been going on for quite some time and it's not linked to a specific event on your person's side, then this is where it starts to be a problem. What I mean by that is if this is not like they're distant right now, or they can't show up in the relationship right now because they just went through this loss or they just went through this hard time. And if it's just the constant of the connection, like it's been like this way for quite some time, then we might have a dynamic that is not very healthy, because these two cards feel quite different to me. The Emperor can indicate someone who is very much just focused on themselves and doing their own thing. And I feel like you guys are incredibly loyal and supportive, and you give amazing advice. And if this one-sidedness has just been a constant and it's been going on for a long time, I fear that the dynamic might be that this person is kind of taking advantage of your loyalty and your generosity and your support and your amazing advice, and just kind of using it to serve themselves. It's almost as if they're using your wisdom and insights to like selfishly serve their own personal development. And they might not realize that that's what they're doing, because they're like, oh, group number 3 is just so strong and so insightful and just gives amazing advice. But then what ends up happening is that like when they need something, or when they need advice, or when they're having trouble, like they always come to you, and then they feel really good from that interaction, but you might feel drained because it's like, what am I getting out of the interaction? We don't need every single interaction to be an equal transaction, but we do need an exchange of energy. And so some of you guys are dealing with someone who just consistently does not bring their end of the energy exchange. And I think that you'll know based on your situation, like, is my person going through a temporary slump right now, or is this just the way the connection has been consistently? I think you'll be able to tell, but it's really kind of mixed here. There's even another interpretation that your person might be distancing themselves because they are going through this hard time and they don't want you to get hurt. They don't want to hurt you with their behavior. They might recognize that I'm in a dark place right now. I can't show up the way I want to. So maybe it's best to just like detach and disengage. And they're looking for guidance elsewhere, and they're on their own healing journey. So there's a few different ways that this can play out, but I think that what is consistent between all of these interpretations is that your person's kind of going through it, and you are the one that is offering your support. You are the one who's offering your loyalty, who is giving energy to them, who's being there for them at this time. And whether we need to be concerned about that dynamic or not, I think it's really a matter of how long have you known this person? Is this a rule or an exception? Are they usually there for you and giving back to you, or have they kind of consistently shown that they don't give back to you? That will be kind of the determining factor, because I think everybody has their moments where they can't show up how they want to and they can't give something their all. And we can all deal with a little bit of picking up the slack or a little bit of one-sided energy, but only for so long. So you may be encouraged to reflect right now about what is this person's default energy towards you? What is their usual baseline energy towards you? What have they consistently shown you? And if what they've consistently shown you is reciprocity and support and respect, then I think you're good. But if the behaviors that they're exhibiting right now, you kind of reflect on it and you're like, you know, they've always kind of been flaky like this, or they've always kind of been distant like this, then I think we might need to reassess the connection. With Luminous Path as the energy that exists between the two of you, I do think that clarity is coming soon. You know, luminous light, it makes me think of getting clarity about a situation. We can imagine that these clouds of confusion are clearing. And we also see that there's a waning moon here, which can also be interpreted a couple of different ways. The waning moon is the phase that comes before the new moon. So it is indicating that the current phase of your connection is coming to an end. And this could be hinting that a new beginning is coming. But with the waning moon, it could also be that the energy of your connection is dwindling. Like if you have found yourself, maybe you found yourself like losing interest in this connection or losing hope in this connection because of the way things are. And that waning moon could be a symbol of that, because it's like the current energy is shrinking. And so this new beginning, I think we're going to have to see in the tarot, because it could go a couple of ways. Like it could go that this challenging energy is over and then the new beginning is like a fresh start with your person where things are back to normal. Or it could be that honestly you are getting kind of fed up with the one-sidedness of the connection, and this new beginning is just that we are letting go. So with that said, I want to get into the tarot now and see what is going on. So what we're going to do here is make a timeline on your side and make a timeline on your person's side of what events and experiences you will go through that ultimately would lead you to your union, and then that's going to be represented by the cards in the middle. Okay, so let's start with your cards. What would be group number 3's journey? What would be the events and experiences that they go through, ultimately leading them to union with this person? So we have the Page of Cups, the Two of Cups, and this is, well, I showed the Two of Cups for every group, but it's the card that I showed in the intro to choose your reading, so kind of funny that it comes out. Then we have the Nine of Pentacles, so what about group number 3's person? What are the events and experiences that group number 3's person will go through, ultimately leading them to union with group number 3? Wow, so I'll take these two together. We have the Tower and Temperance. Then we have the Page of Wands. And the Six of Cups. All right. And then let's get some cards to represent the energy of your union. We have the Four of Pentacles, and the Five of Cups. Okay, so one thing that I just want to tell you guys right away with this Four of Pentacles energy is that I do believe that in some way it was fated that you meet this person. You were meant to come into each other's lives. You know, we have two cards here that are also often an indicator of soulmates, the Two of Cups and the Six of Cups. Four of Pentacles makes me think of, you know, divine guidance and something that, if anything could be set in stone, it would be the Four of Pentacles. So I do think that your souls very strongly chose to come together in this lifetime, and in a sense, it was meant to happen. I think that there's something very important that you learn from each other or that you experience together. I'm kind of starting from the middle here, but with the Five of Cups here, there's a feeling of things maybe not ending exactly how you wanted them to, but that doesn't change the fact that you have a special bond and that you are soulmates and that you were meant to meet each other. And we even have the Two Cups in the background behind this person crying. It's like you were meant to come into each other's lives. Yes, this is a soulmate in your life, but maybe it doesn't end exactly how you want it to. It could be a situation where you were meant to come together with this person for a time, but maybe they are not your forever person. Or if you were to be with them, there would be like other things that you have to give up that would be bittersweet. So, for example, okay, I'll use myself as an example. I really love living in Japan. Like, it's made me very happy for a very long time. So if this were my reading, it would be like, yes, you can be with this person, but maybe you can't live in Japan. There's a feeling of like, you might have to give something up that makes you happy. And so maybe in that way, it's not exactly how you imagined it would be. I feel like this Five of Cups is either indicating like, this is not your forever person, or if you were to be with this person forever or in the long term, it wouldn't, there's something that you have to give up, or it wouldn't be exactly like the fantasy you imagine, or something like that. And maybe more insights will come into this as we go through your individual journeys, but this is just what I'm feeling right off the bat. Judging from what I see over on your person's side, I do feel that this is their current energy, the Tower clarified by Temperance, because there was a feeling in the current energies that your person is kind of going through it. And if there's any card in this spread that indicates going through it, it's the Tower. I think that the circumstances that are making your connection feel kind of one-sided, I think now that I see this, I think a big part of it has to do with the circumstances that your person is going through. I think they have gone through some kind of major loss or redirection in their life that was completely unexpected. You know, like losing a job or losing a loved one or suddenly having to change your living situation. It's like one of the major pillars of their life was kind of knocked down. And then it's like you have to deal with the shock of that. So you have to deal with the emotional aspect, but then you also have to deal with the practical aspect of putting the pieces back together and getting back on your feet and keeping your life moving forward. And I just heard life stops for no one. So maybe they're really feeling that pressure of like, I hardly even have time to grieve about this because the world is still turning and people still need me and I have to keep going. There could be a lot of people who rely on this person, whether that's family or coworkers or employees, whatever it might be. But there's almost this feeling of they can't really slow down and process what has happened. And with Temperance here, I do think this is talking about them. Okay, there's a couple things that this is referring to. This is talking about them trying to heal and find the balance in their life again. I'm also noticing this is Scorpio and Sagittarius energy. So the end of the year might have been a hard time for them, like November and December of last year or the previous year when you're watching this. But yes, this is them trying to heal and find balance again. But Temperance is also about like holding it together. And there's also a feeling of like emotional restraint. So there's a feeling of them having to really put on a brave face and just keep going. They have to put on a smile for their family or for their kids or for their employees or whoever is in their life. Because again, life stops for no one and like the world keeps turning. And I think that if they have been requiring more energy from you while not showing up for you, it could be that you're one of the few people that they can talk about. Wait, what am I trying to say? You are one of the few people that they can talk to about this issue. You're one of the few people who understands or who knows about this aspect of their life. Or I'm also hearing like who wouldn't judge them, who would really get it. Or maybe you're the only person they know who can really provide insights. Temperance is also gaining a greater perspective and looking at the bigger picture. And I think that every time this person talks to you, they feel like they have gained a new perspective. I also think that if you've shared about your spirituality with this person, that could have also helped them reframe what they're going through. Because Temperance is also a very spiritual card. And I know personally, when I go through Tower moments, yes, it still sucks, but being a spiritual person helps a lot because you have that deep belief that this is happening for a reason. This is happening to bring something better in my life. And that really does ease the anxieties. So with everything that this person is going through, I think that if you've provided a spiritual perspective or helped them see it through a lens of like, this is happening for the greater good, this is happening for your growth, this is happening to bring better things into your life, I feel like that's been very, very helpful to them. And it might be one-sided because they just really need that perspective and really need that energy right now. And I'm not saying you have to just unconditionally give them your time and energy, but more so providing like a background as to why they might be kind of really pulling energy from you at this time and why it might feel less balanced right now. The tower, these towers always do fall over so that something better can be built in its place. And with the Sag energy of the Temperance card, it's a very optimistic energy too. And I think that being around you and being around your energy, it really does help them to be optimistic again. And maybe this sounds kind of dramatic or intense, but I feel like they really kind of need you right now. There is a feeling of you're the only one who understands. And I'm sorry, I don't say this to like put pressure on you that you have to show up for them because, you know, you're not obligated, but I think they feel like they need you, like with guidance and healing. And then I'm just thinking of the interpretation earlier that some of them are distancing themselves so they don't hurt you. And then that feels sad because it's like deep down, they feel like they need you. They feel like you would understand. They feel like you would give them hope, but they don't want to like bother you with that. So there's a couple different patterns here, but what I can say for sure is that they're going through it and they feel like they need you and they feel like you really lift their spirits. We have the Page of Wands, and I really love how the Page of Wands is turning away from this kind of mess, and Page of Wands is about new inspiration, new hope, a new start, a new adventure, a new lease on life. So soon I do think that your person will turn their back to this pain and walk away into a new future. And I think that things are going to get gentler and things are going to get easier. I feel like the way your person is right now, it wouldn't be fair to judge them right now, and it wouldn't be fair to judge their capacity to show up and their capacity to reciprocate and their capacity to give energy. Like, they're not in a place to do that right now. I think that when they're really themselves and when they have their spark and when they're in good spirits, they're incredibly sweet and loving and affectionate, and I could even say romantic. Maybe some of you have seen this aspect of them already, and that's why you can stick around during this time. But for others of you who haven't seen that side of them yet, I think they really want you to know that it's there, that things are not always going to be like this. There really is a sweet, carefree soul lying under these messy circumstances that will change and that will go away. That's being shown very clearly here. And I do think that they recognize you're a special counterpart, whether they would call you a soulmate or the one, or just different, just someone really special in their life. And I do think that they'll always treasure you and always cherish you, no matter what happens. Now, let's look over here on your side. We have the Page of Cups, the Two of Cups, and the Nine of Pentacles. I do feel like many of you do have quite a bit of history with this person. You've maybe even been in a relationship with this person before, or you've been involved with them in a situationship with them for quite some time. Because we do have the Page of Cups and the Two of Cups here. What's interesting is that your energy right before this union is the Nine of Pentacles, meaning that before this union happens, you're actually very much focused on yourself. You're in a very independent, confident, unbothered sort of energy. So I feel like throughout this whole reading, there's multiple ways to interpret. So please bear with me, but I think that for some of you, this is indicating like you've been involved with them. Maybe you've been in a relationship with them, and maybe there was a period where you were really, really invested in the connection and invested in helping this person and invested in making things work. But I think that you realized, or you are realizing, you only have so much energy and you can only give so much. And in fact, giving too much of yourself does not help anyone, because for one, it drains you of your energy. It burns you out emotionally. And it also takes away your person's chance to learn how to meet their own needs and show up for themselves and find their own solutions and do their own work. So I do think, and this could be happening right now, but at some point in the journey, there is this realization of like, me just giving and giving and giving my all like this unconditionally is not helping anyone. There needs to be a balance. I need to take care of myself. You need to take care of yourself. And I feel like the Nine of Pentacles is indicating this phase where you're sort of reclaiming your energy, coming back to yourself, starting to give that love that you so freely gave away to others and like pouring it back into your own self and your own life and your own cup, and then seeing how much your life starts thriving when you do this. Yes. And for some of you, that could mean separating from this person. For others, it could be you're still with them, but you're just establishing healthy boundaries. But it looks like you are in this energy of being more independent, being more unapologetically self-loving, unapologetically having boundaries, prioritizing self-care, prioritizing grounding, and it feels like you are just maybe divested from this connection or just less invested. Like, instead of thinking about this person and this connection 90% of the time, it's like 20% of the time. It feels more healthy. It feels more well-rounded. The number 9 is very well-rounded and balanced and healed and beautiful energy. I really like the number 9. So that's one way of looking at this. For others of you, you could have been with someone or been very interested in someone before this person came into your life. And maybe you went through a breakup or a separation with this other person, and then when you were single and focused on yourself and not looking for love at all, this person just like boom came into your life in a very serendipitous way. Because there is something about this connection that feels like fated and special. Not just feels that way, it is. I think both of you feel this, like the way you came into each other's lives, it just feels it feels magical, honestly. So let's look a bit more into this union energy. I think I'm going to pull a couple more clarifiers because I want to see how exactly things are going to play out between the two of you from now on. Okay, for group number 3, how are things going to play out between them and their person from now on? Wow, okay, we have the King of Cups. Oh, that makes me quite emotional. And the Seven of Pentacles. Okay, so I think what this is showing is that you are safe to show this person compassion. I think that this is not a situation where you need to be worried about the true nature of this person. Like we saw earlier with the Six of Cups, this is a very sweet person, and when they are in a good energy and in good circumstances, they're like the most giving and loving person. And I think that you guys either know that from experience or you can feel it on an energetic level. I'm really happy to see these. It's just that it's almost like they're in a survival mode right now. They're in this phase where they're so focused on their own self and their own situation because they have to be. And I think that there is some encouragement for you to forgive this person for the way they might be acting right now, whether that is they're in a place of like dumping on you because they really need your help, or they're in a place of running away because they don't want to get you all tied up in their drama and they don't want to hurt you. Whatever it might be, I feel like this King of Cups is like showing them grace and showing them compassion. That doesn't mean that you have to run in and solve all their problems. That doesn't mean that you're obligated to give them like all of your time and energy, but just to look at them with love and compassion and understanding of their situation and forgiveness. And to trust as well that if ever you're going through a tower moment, if ever you're going through a tough time like this, they will be there for you in that case. That's what this trust is talking about. And the handshake, I feel like it really indicates that reciprocity. With retreat here, you could be encouraged to pull back your energy a little bit rather than directly getting involved in solving their problems and being the one to get them back on their feet. I think you're being encouraged to kind of love them from afar right now or support them from afar. It could be that you're offering your love and healing energy in a 5D sense rather than in a 3D sense. But I do feel like they need your love right now, like they need your nurturing energy right now. With the Seven of Pentacles here, there is a need for patience, but this shows that delays are temporary and that the wait will be worth it. And with the Four of Pentacles, I want to say, as long as you want this union and as long as you want this connection, it will be there. I think that when your soul came to this earth and looked at all their potential timelines and all their potential partnerships, the timeline with this person was a very strong choice. So your higher self would do a lot to stay on this path as long as you want it. So I'm pulling a lot of extra cards because, like, as I keep reading, I get more curious about the energies. I want to see how they'll come towards you, and I also want a clarifier for the Five of Cups. So we have the Two of Swords and the King of Wands. Okay. I understand the Five of Cups now. And then we have the Knight of Pentacles. Okay, so they're slowly but surely moving towards you. I think it makes sense that we have the Knight of Pentacles here because it's sort of a gradual journey into your sweet and peaceful union. It's not really like, oh, things are hard, and then there's this deciding moment where, like, everything is okay now, everything is fine, I'm good, and we're in union now. It feels like something that happens gradually. So as time goes by, you will feel their energy getting lighter and lighter. You will see them doing better and better. You'll see them warming up more and more to you. You'll see them giving more and more to you. Like, it happens slowly, and then you just kind of naturally mesh together and blend together. And I say it makes sense that the Knight of Pentacles is here because it indicates a journey that, you know, it takes time. It's not always linear, but we are slowly but surely getting ahead. So I think just trust and having a healthy holding back of your energy, giving them room to breathe and also to learn how to get up on their own feet and solve their own problems, I think is the best course of action right now. And I understand the Five of Cups now. So We have to go back here a little bit though. And I'm going to give an example. Let's say that your person's tower moment is that they suddenly lost their job. And this is like devastating for them because, obviously it would be devastating for anyone, but they need to pay their rent. They need to pay their bills. Maybe they have family or like people to support. So they're having such a hard time understanding, why did this happen to me? Like, why? And I feel that you help them see kind of the spiritual meaning behind it, or you help them see the greater purpose behind it. And you help to move them from this mindset of being the victim and being powerless and like, why me, to this is happening for me. This is happening to bring something better to my life. And then they can start to look at their situation from that perspective. Like, how could this transition actually be serving me? How could this actually be an exciting new start in my life rather than a tragedy? So they get to thinking in that way, and then they realize, well, I've always wanted to start my own business. Maybe this moment is actually the universe freeing me up so I can do that. Maybe this is an opportunity for me to realize that I'm not supposed to work for someone else anymore. I'm supposed to take charge of my own life. So they kind of flip the script of like, this was a good thing for me. They can look at it in an optimistic way. And so they start building up their own business. I think the bittersweet energy of this Five of Cups is that it's like the very silver lining that you helped them find. As they go down that path and grow more and more, it will actually take them away from you or make you miss each other. So in this example, you helped this person get back on their feet when they lost their job, when they were having financial troubles, when they were struggling. You helped them believe in themselves again. You helped them believe in the potential of a new path. So they went for it. They took your advice. They started the business that they'd always been dreaming of, and they became very, very successful. But now they're traveling all over the world, or they're overseas half the time and you don't get to see them. It's like that kind of thing where the very journey you helped them on, it's like ironic now. They've grown so much, and it kind of puts this bittersweet note to your relationship because you're not like together as much as you would like to be. So I feel like that's kind of what this is talking about. And I think trust would be, if you move forward with this person, trust would be very, very important, because I think that it's like you're not going to be together all the time, or there's going to be physical distance between you. And so you really have to trust each other, that the other person is going to be loyal and that they're not going to lose their spark for you, that they're going to stay committed to you. Like, you would have to have a really, really strong bond. So maybe this Two of Swords, it could, at first I thought it was indicating your person struggling to make the choice of like, should they keep going on this path or not? But I think it's also indicating like, you need to make a choice if you want to be with this person like that or not. Like, am I willing to be with this person even if it means we won't be together all the time? Or even if it means it'll be long distance for this many years, or even if it means they can't get married for this many years. There's like that decision of, am I willing to, I guess, sacrifice the fantasy that I had in order to experience what the connection really is? Could also be like, this could also be a union that is not romantic, and it's like, am I willing to be in friendship with this person even if it means it's not going to be something more? So it's kind of like we have to weigh our options and decide if it's really worth it for us, if we're willing to forego the fantasy to accept things how they really are. That's kind of the feeling. And I don't know what you'll choose. I mean, you are in an energy where you're really content on your own. I don't think when you're coming into union with this person, you're not relying on them for any kind of like confidence or validation or financial support. You're very much doing your own thing. So maybe you will find that this is doable for you, but there's really no right or wrong answer. You just need to know that it's safe to trust this person and that it's safe to keep loving them, and that as long as you want this connection, it's going to be there. And I think I mean, hopefully that's quite a helpful factor in making your decision. So, wow, group number 3s, I took a lot of extra cards for this one, but I just kept feeling like there's more to this. There's more to the messages, and I didn't want to like cut it short or anything. I just wanted to keep digging deeper. So thank you for being here with me and allowing to, you know, look deeply into your energy. This is one of those groups where I want to say, please feel free to comment your story. Of course, any group in any reading, I always love when you comment your stories, but every now and then there's those groups where I'm like, I'm really curious about this one and what's going on with you guys. So yes, please do feel free to comment below and let me know, like, what's the deal with this connection? It was a really interesting energy. I know that it's probably not always easy on this journey, but I hope that this was a confirmation that you guys can do it and you can have a worthwhile connection, and that this is a really beautiful soul. Your person is, and you are too. So my lovely group number 3s, these are all the messages I have for you. So I'm going to end your reading here. Thank you very, very much for letting me do this reading for you. I hope you have a wonderful day or night whenever you're watching, and I wish you all the best. Please take good care of yourself. Stay healthy. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe if you feel like doing that. If you enjoy my content and you'd like to find me elsewhere, you can find me on Instagram. I post regular pick a card readings there. You can find me on Patreon, where we have over 50 exclusive readings to date, plus 2 new ones every month, and you guys get to choose the topic for those. You can find me on my music channel. The song that you guys heard at the very start of this video was an original song, so if you're interested in listening to the full version of that song or any of my other ones, you can do so over on my music channel. And finally, we have merch at KINOtarot.com, which features the floating temple that was at the start of this video, and we have that on hoodies, sweatshirts, mugs, and tote bags. So all that stuff that I just mentioned is going to be linked down below for you in the description, as well as in the pinned comment of this video. Thank you so much for supporting me and for supporting my channel. It truly means a lot to me. My group number 3s, I'm sending so much love to you, to your person, to all of your loved ones, your spirit guides, and your whole spiritual team, both here on earth and in the spirit realms. And I will see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye! Hi number 4s, so if you guys chose the brown calcite and the lunar eclipse tarot, this is going to be a reading all about your journey into union with your person. Group number 4s, you guys are definitely the clairvoyants out of all the groups, because before I started filming, I was getting a couple of different visuals for you guys, and that doesn't happen super often. It tends to just happen when the group I'm reading for has the gift of clairvoyance. So I just wanted to share with you guys what I saw for you. The first thing I saw is a present, like a gift box wrapped up with a bow. I just saw this visual without any context, so this is just me kind of speculating about what it could mean for you guys, or maybe you already know what it means, but it could be an indication that your person is going to give you a gift soon if you know them already. It could also be that a gift you have given them is very meaningful to them and they are thinking about it a lot right now, or keeping it nearby them right now. If you sent this person a gift, Spirit wants you to know that they received it and they kept it. Or even if you sent your person something energetically, like a message or a sign, they received that as well. They received it and they acknowledged it. It could also be their higher self saying that you are a gift to them, or you are a gift to this world. And finally, I also think this could be a sign that this connection has really allowed you to develop your psychic gifts. And this connection may introduce your person to their psychic gifts. Another visual that I saw was a little yellow bird, which could be a chick, a little chick, or it could also be a canary, which makes me think of encouragement to speak up, encouragement to use your voice, to sing as well. And it can also be an encouragement to go forward with the ideas you have. It could be like a green light. Yes, start that project you've been thinking about, make that thing you've been thinking about. Like a nudge. Stop making excuses, stop procrastinating, and go for it. This is your sign. So, I think that's it for the visuals. So let's get into the main reading now. I want to show you guys first the list of everything that's going to be covered in this reading. We have the reading here on YouTube as well as an extended today, but over here on YouTube, we're going to be seeing the current energies of your connection. So your current energy, their current energy, and then what's going on overall in the connection between the two of you. And then we're going to jump into your journey into union. So for this part of the reading, we're going to see what experiences and what series of events you will go through and they will go through that ultimately leads you into union. And then once you do come into union, what is that going to be like? What type of relationship are you going to share with your person? And then over in the extended reading, we're going to see a specific timing for your union based on your current energies. And this part is very important because, of course, your union and the specific timing of your union is not set in stone. Everybody has free will. So the timing that we see is just based on your current energies at the time that you're watching. And with that in mind, we're also going to see what could speed up this union and make it easier, and what could slow down the union and make it more difficult. And then finally, we're going to get a message directly from your person of what they wish they could tell you right now. So that is everything on our list today. Without further ado, let's get into the cards. And we're gonna start this off with the energy check. To do that, we're gonna be using these oracle cards. So I'm gonna put your oracle cards here, their cards here, and your shared card in the middle. If you listen to these descriptions and you feel like the energy switched, like that's them and that's you, that is totally fine. You are welcome to switch the energies. You may also find that both sides sound like you. That's totally fine as well. And that's likely an indication that you and your person are mirroring each other. However, if you don't resonate with either side, you might want to try listening to another group, or maybe this is just not your reading today. But let's finally get into it. So on your side, we have crossing over the mountain, strength, happiness, and love, universal, unconditional love, source. And on your person's side, we have dream, the Two of Pentacles, anger, and lovers, divine counterpart, chemistry, partnership. And then in the middle, to represent the energy between the two of you, I just saw 555, by the way, so big change happening in this connection for sure. We have inner compass. Okay, so wow, that's so cool. Like such cool timing for that angel number 555 to appear right when we are talking about the energy that exists between the two of you. You guys might know that the number 5 is all about change. So I feel like what your guides want you to know is that there is a big change that is currently happening in this connection. And I would also say that big changes are about to happen in both of your lives as individuals. In terms of zodiac signs that are present here, we have Leo energy with strength, and we have Capricorn energy with the Two of Pentacles. More specifically, this is Jupiter in Capricorn, so that might be your or your person's placement. I would also say we have Gemini energy because this is Lovers, and I'm thinking of the Lovers card in Tarot. But you know what else, group number 4? Let me be honest with you guys. I feel like throughout this video, I haven't been great at like incorporating interpretations for those who don't know their person, because the other groups just seem so much like there's a history, there's an ongoing 3D connection. But I feel like if there's any group where like it's possible that you don't know each other yet, or like one of you doesn't know of each other, I feel like this is the one. This is the group. Like, you guys who chose this group, it's possible that you guys are the ones who like haven't met your person yet, or like don't know them in the 3D, or like they don't know of you or something like that. But what I see here between you and your person right now, there's quite a big difference in your outlook. I think it's interesting that we have, both of you guys have some card related to love, but next to yours we have happiness, and next to theirs we have anger. I feel like you guys have a very positive and optimistic outlook on love right now, whereas they feel kind of mad at love. You can see this angry cat. It's like, it looks like this cat wants to attack the lover swans, and I'm thinking of someone who feels almost kind of bitter, like, or cynical, someone who sees a happy couple and is like, ugh, you know what I mean? It's kind of giving me that vibe. I feel like this person, and keep in mind that this is just a current energy, it's like they feel kind of disappointed by love, or they feel like it's, I just heard like it's all a scam, or maybe this person got betrayed, or they're having a hard time letting go of the way that a lover hurt them. That's kind of the vibe that I'm getting. There's a few different ways that I can interpret this, of course, and that's definitely one of them. Like, this person got really hurt and it kind of caused them to not believe in love. Like, it's all a lie, it's all a joke. I'm thinking of Payphone by Maroon 5. That line that's like, all those fairy tales are full of shit. One more stupid love song, I'll be sick. Like, maybe that's how they're feeling right now. That is one way. That is one way of interpreting it. If you don't know this person yet, I think they might be getting frustrated because they feel your energy around them and they don't understand it. They don't understand what's happening, or they don't understand why the universe is like dangling this energy in their face if they can't meet you yet, or they can't be in union with you yet. Or actually, even if you know this person and you're in separation, it could apply to that situation as well. You know, like, we separated, I thought I was supposed to move on. Why does group 4's energy keep following me around? There's this feeling of frustration when it comes to love, or when it comes to the connection and how your energy keeps showing up. They can't make sense of it, or they can't accept it. They feel their energy is like confused and frustrated. Now, there is something else coming up, and maybe this provides insight into why they're feeling frustrated with love. I think that this is someone who can tend to be idealistic, or like they set their hopes really, really high, and then when reality happens, they fall from a very high place and get hurt. This could be someone who sets extremely high standards for themselves, and then like they get disappointed and then they kind of fall into a rut. But I think also for life and love as well. And I think something that your person needs to learn is that even the most beautiful relationships are hard sometimes. Even the most harmonious relationships take work. I feel like your person maybe had an over-idealized view of love and relationships where they thought like, if I'm with the right person, then we're gonna understand each other 100% of the time. It's always gonna be easy. We're never gonna have disagreements. Like, we're just gonna fit perfectly together. Whereas when I look at your energy, I think you're someone who understands, yes, love and relationships, but like everything worthwhile in life comes with its challenges. And I think you're someone who embraces the challenge because you recognize that you're learning a very valuable lesson and you're becoming stronger. I feel like you're more balanced right now. You have a very realistic view of life and the challenges and the blessings that come with your journey. Whereas I feel like their energy is a bit more volatile because it's like they get their hopes up really, really, really high. And then when things don't work out, it crashes and then they become cynical. Their energy is kind of up and down like this. I'm getting kind of artist vibes from this group as well. So you or your person could be an artist. But I just see you in a much more balanced energy right now. And it feels very healthy and positive. You recognize like, yeah, connections take work, relationships take work. Even if someone is like your soulmate, the love of your life, it takes work. And you know what? I embrace the work. I'm grateful for the work. I want to do it. I want to overcome these challenges because they make me a stronger person. They make me a more compassionate person. They help me to understand myself better. They help me to understand my counterpart better. Like, you love life for everything that it is, for the easy and the hard, for the good and the bad. And you embrace everything that a connection is. For the good, the bad, and the ugly, for the light and the dark. It's like you have I don't know if holistic is the right word, but a very whole view of life where you want to take it and experience it for everything that it is. And you have truly reached this place in your journey where you're grateful for the challenges because you always know that challenges are here to serve you. They're here to bring you a blessing. And so even if there's difficulties in this connection, you still feel joy because you know that you're on a beautiful journey with this person and you're just like open. You're just like, bring it on. I can handle it. I think this image, I love this image. It's so beautiful and symbolic. Like, no mountain is too high or too steep if you have your higher self guiding you. And if you embrace the light and the dark, you can get over anything. I love your energy. Oh my gosh, you guys are so like, you guys must be doing a lot of like personal and spiritual work because you're just coming through as so like, you've evolved a lot. You're coming through as very wise. And I think, I don't know, your person's energy, they need some time to really come into balance, I think. I think with dreams here, this person has a lot of dreams about you, even if they haven't met you, even if they don't know who you are, you do show up in their dreams. I also think that a bear could be significant. I think this is a bear. This is definitely a bear. And I think it's very interesting how we have this inner compass card and the bear is swimming from their side to yours, almost like their inner compass is guiding them towards you. And they're confused about that, either because they don't know who you are, but they feel your energy so strongly, and that's confusing to them, or they just don't understand why you pop up so much, or like why this pull is so strong. And yeah, it's like this frustration of like, let me be sulky in peace, you know, let me, I don't know, I'm thinking of, there's this song, do you guys know Lilacs? They were like a girl group a long time ago when I was a child. They were iconic, and they have this song called Dirty Sunshine, and it's making me think of that. If I remember correctly, it's like this person who's just like in their dark room, and then like you come in and you blow all this sunshine into my space, and like you're so sweet, and like, what are you doing? It's like they're overwhelmed by your sunshine, or they're overwhelmed by your sweetness. And I think you're challenging them to come out of this like cynical energy and have hope and love, but they're kind of like resisting it right now. With the Two of Pentacles here, they could also be using work or using how busy they are as a way to escape from these feelings that they can't make sense of. So they just keep themselves really, really busy, keep themselves distracted. I think this person does have a very big dream that they're working towards. So it's definitely not a bad thing that they're keeping so busy and working so hard. But I think sometimes they use it to escape from the intensity of their feelings, or to escape from the need to make sense of their feelings. I feel like your person just doesn't really know what's going on. Like they don't understand why they feel this way, and maybe they don't have the words to express it, or they don't have the spiritual context maybe to like explain what the connection is, but they just seem confused. That's one thing that I can take away from their energy. But at the end of the day, we have inner compass in between both of you. So you are really bringing each other in energetically. You really do feel drawn towards each other. So let's see what's going on. Let's look at your journey into union. So what we're gonna do for this part, we're gonna make sort of a timeline for both of your journeys. So this will be your journey, the timeline moving toward them. This will be their journey, the timeline moving toward you. And then the cards in the middle will represent the energy of your union. So to sort of get an idea of when this union is happening, if you find that your current energy is more over here, like far away from the middle, this will mean that like union is still a while away. But if your current energy is very close to the middle, then it means that union is happening very, very soon. I think it will make more sense when I lay out the cards. But let's get started with your journey. Okay, for group number 4, what does their journey look like into union with their person? What events and experiences are they going to go through? And how will they eventually come into union with their person? We have the Two of Cups. So this is the card that you guys saw right at the intro. Then we have the Knight of Wands. And then we have the Devil. And what about on their person's side? Okay. Okay, on your person's side, we have the High Priestess. The Six of Pentacles. And the Star. Okay, and let's look at the energy of your union. I'm going to take 3 cards, I think. 2 to represent the energy of your union, and 1 to represent kind of like how it happens. Okay, so we have the 8 of Pentacles. And the 2 of Swords. Ooh, and the Wheel of Fortune. Okay. So we have the Wheel of Fortune. First of all, we have Aquarius and Capricorn energy here, which I mentioned Capricorn before. Capricorn, Capricorn. And then what else did I mention? Leo, Aquarius, and Gemini. Yes. So water sign could also be significant with the High Priestess here. So that's Cancer, Scorpio, and Pisces. The card that I pulled for how you guys come together, we got the Wheel of Fortune, which this usually means that the 2 of you will come together through a divine intervention, and it will not be through any intentional action on your part. So this is not like you deciding to make a move toward them or them deciding to make a move toward you. It's very much like you're going about your life and you bump into this person. So if you haven't met this person yet, they're gonna come into your life in a very serendipitous way. Like you'll just kind of run into each other. Or even if you know this person already, the next time you see each other is not going to be planned. Like you will just end up in the same place at the same time because of where the divine is leading you. So I want to tell you guys, don't worry about the actions that you're taking and like, is this action taking me closer or farther away? Because the universe has a bigger plan and you're sort of just going to walk right into it. I think it's also very interesting that both of your cards for like the energy right before union are major arcana. And this is kind of opposite of a previous group in this video, because there was one group where it was like right before you come into union, things are going to get very quiet. Like the signs and synchronicities are really going to die down and you're going to be like, is anyone there? But for this group, it's totally opposite. Like the closer you get to union, the louder and louder the messages from the universe are going to be. Like you are going to see multiple signs and synchronicities of the union like every single day. Your guides are going to get so loud, it will be impossible to ignore. So if you are in an energy right now where it's like, yeah, like I dream of my person every now and then, like I'll see a little sign about them here and there, then you might be a little bit farther from the union chronologically. However, if you're like, I freaking see signs of them everywhere, like I dream of them every day, like this is getting silly. Even when I, for example, even when I watch a reading that's about something completely unrelated, my person somehow shows up in my reading, or like the reader's like, oh, that's weird, like this is a career reading, but like a soulmate is showing up. And it's like, come on, like you're literally following me around at this point. If you're in an energy like this, then that is an indication that your union is happening in a very, very near future. But again, I really feel with this Wheel of Fortune, like you don't have to worry about how it's going to happen. I feel like you are already taking all of the right actions, and it's going to happen in a way that honestly feels like a coincidence, that feels like you just bump into each other. You just end up in the same place. I don't even think like you know that your person is going to be there, or they know that you're going to be there. It just seems very like, yeah, like very serendipitous. What I will say is I think that when you meet this person or the next time you see them, it's going to be in a place where there is a lot of higher ups. That is kind of the feeling that I'm getting, because we have the devil and the star, and like the devil is, it's Capricorn energy. So it's like, it's the CEO, it's the top dog, it's the boss, it's that very ambitious, powerful, high status energy. We can even see the devil has these people in the palm of their hand. So it's like there's a lot of higher ups wherever you're meeting, and then that could be something that makes you kind of nervous. And then we have the star, and I'm thinking of literally like the stars are there. Some of you guys, this is weird, but I just heard like some of you guys might meet at a premiere, or you're meeting somewhere where like all like celebrities go. Like, I don't know, maybe there's a really fancy restaurant in New York City where like celebrities are spotted. It feels kind of like elite, kind of high status. Like there's a lot of important people around, and it might make you kind of nervous. This could also be just like within your company, you know, like maybe you're at a work party and like your boss's boss is there. So you're like, I gotta be on my best behavior. But like, that's the kind of feeling. That's the kind of feeling that I'm getting with these. So anyway, I'm kind of not really going in order. I kind of started from the middle, but let's take a look at your journeys. And I think I'm kind of going to read them together. It feels like I should do that. There's something about your person's energy where they seem kind of mysterious, or they seem kind of secretive. With this duality here, like the light and dark, their energy could be kind of hot and cold at the start of your journey. But you're tapped in and you're getting subtle messages from them that they reciprocate your feelings. I think that you probably discovered this person through your spiritual journey, or going on a spiritual journey helped you to make sense of what this connection is and sort of urged you to look into this connection deeper. Like some spiritual concept that you learn about, you're like, oh shit, let me look into this connection more because this kind of sounds like what I'm going through. Your spiritual journey was important in order for you to truly like understand how significant this person and this connection is to you. In the 3D, I feel like if you know this person or interact with this person in the 3D, I feel like for the most part, they seem private, mysterious, a little bit secretive. Like you don't really know who they are underneath it all. You don't really know what goes on behind the scenes. But every now and then, they send you a little hint. They send you a little message to let you know, like, I feel it too. Like, I know who you are. I know what this is. I feel it too. Their higher self kind of shines through, if that makes sense. Oh man. I feel for your person. I feel like they're confused because maybe like they're not super spiritual, or they've never felt this way before. I feel like they're confused about what's going on. And I really do feel for them. I think this is more just like, it's not anger towards you, of course. It's more like confusion or frustration because they had this like cynical view of love, but now they're experiencing something that seems so pure and so strong, and they just don't know what to make of it. I think what they're experiencing with you, it kind of goes against everything they believed about love. Like they were like, oh, like I don't believe in soulmates, or like the idea of true love is garbage, like people are just gonna hurt you in the end. But like the way they feel for you, or the way they experience this connection, is challenging that, and so they just feel like frustrated. But with that being said, you do get confirmation from them, little signs sprinkled here and there. messages from their higher self sprinkled here and there. They're giving you signals that deep down they get it, deep down they know. So that's kind of how it starts off. Now we have the Knight of Wands and we have the Six of Pentacles. So there's this moment of you gaining confidence and trying to move towards them, but then getting stopped in your tracks. And I don't know specifically what this entails, but there's a feeling of like, oh shit, what is it called? I underestimated how difficult this would be, or like I underestimated how, it's almost like you feel like this person is hard to reach, or you feel, yeah, like the journey towards them will be like going over a mountain. It will be difficult. And I feel like what's happening for you on your side, and it's more like an energetic thing rather than like showing what specific events are going to play out in the 3D. I'll let you guys know if I think of a 3D example, but it's more like energetically, it's like you're over here sort of getting a grasp of what this connection is spiritually. And while you're making sense of all of this, you start to get signals from them of like recognition. Like, yes, I feel it too. Yes, my soul knows you. Like, yes, this connection is a thing. So you see this recognition and confirmation from them, and you start to get excited. You start to get confident, right? You're like, yeah, let's go. Like, because of course it feels really, really good to get this confirmation. We have the waning moon here, or not waning, freaking the waxing moon here, which is like things are growing, things are gaining momentum, things are moving. And you're like, yeehaw, let's go. And you start running towards this person, but then you hit a wall. You hit a wall in the 3D and you're like, I have underestimated how difficult this journey was going to be, or like I have underestimated how like inaccessible this person is, or how out of reach this person is, or how out of my league this person is. And I'm not saying that's true, but it's kind of like a wall you hit, I think, when you're faced with some kind of 3D obstacle. An example is coming to my mind, but it doesn't necessarily have to do with a relationship, but it's like, I just thought of someone who is like an amazing singer, and then a bunch of people start to tell them they're an amazing singer. So they're getting that recognition and that validation, and they're like, fuck yeah, like let's go for it. Let's try to make it as a singer. But then once they get out into the world, they realize how much competition they have. Like, oh yeah, there's like a million people who are also amazing singers and want to be a singer, like sure. And there's so many hoops to jump through, and there's so many, you have to impress the right person, and you have to think about all these practical things that, you know, like when it's just me getting excited on my own and experiencing the emotions, like it's all fine and dandy. But then when I go out into the world, it's like, oh shit, there's 3D hoops to jump through. Oh shit, I forgot this person is in another country, or it's something like that. Or, oh shit, I forgot that there's so much distance between us, or there's so many levels I need to get through, so many people I need to get through. That's kind of the feeling. You get kind of a hard reality check. The 3D, of course, like it's always harder to connect in the 3D than it is to connect in the 5D, but that's kind of the vibe. There's more steps to it than you thought, or there's more, not competition, but well, maybe if like your career path has to do with it. Yeah, and then it's like you kind of start to maybe doubt yourself or doubt your journey. But I mean, that's where divine intervention comes in. So you don't even have to be worrying about these things. The universe will find a way. I think one thing that makes you feel these barriers, it could have to do with this person's job with the Six of Pentacles. Something about their job makes them inaccessible to you, whether that's like they're very, very busy, or they're very important, or like maybe they're a public figure. I don't know. We do have the star here as well. But I think it's something about their job or who they interact with, who they do business with, their entourage, that makes them hard to get to. And there's this feeling of like, when it's just you and me and it's just like our souls, it's so easy. But when it comes to getting to you in the 3D, then it feels so hard. That's not to say you're not willing to get over this mountain, but it's just hard. I think that the way these look, like the devil person is walking towards the star person, you will have to make moves, I think, to get closer to this person, while kind of fighting with an internal dialogue of, they must be too busy for me, they must be too important for me. And again, I am not saying these are true, but we all have intrusive thoughts, and we all kind of have a negative dialogue that kind of almost stops us from just fully believing and fully being confident. And that's what the devil is. So, you know, with all of these energies, yeah, it has to do with how much they work, or what they do for work, or who they work with, that is making you feel that they're difficult to approach. And all the while you have those voices in your head telling you that like, it's not gonna happen, like just forget about it. But no matter what, your inner compass just keeps moving you towards them. I could definitely see like if you resonate with both sides, because I could see how your journey could bring you confusion and frustration. I could see how there can be ups and downs as well. With the star here, it's very clear to me that, you know, we already had divine counterparts here. We have the Two of Cups, the Six of Pentacles. It's pretty clear to me that you have some kind of shared mission, like you're meant to create something together. You're meant to collaborate on something. I think you're both meant to be very successful. And I've probably said this in other groups, but you know what? Like, we're all so successful. What can I say? Like, I have a community of badasses on this channel. So, looking even with the Eight of Pentacles, like this is about your work. It's about you being a busy bee. I think that this person is definitely very busy. And I think the more busy you get, the less them being busy will affect you. It's like you feel like, oh, they must be too busy for me, but then you are booked in busy too. And then you finally understand, oh, this is actually really sweet. Oh, this is really sweet. So this devil, this voice in your head is just going to be proven wrong so many times. Okay, this is the example that came to my mind. Let's say there's this content creator that you really like, and you are thinking like, I want to send them an email, like I want to send them a fan mail, but then the devil starts to say, yeah, but they get like 1 million fan mails a day. Like, why is yours so special? Or like, they're so much more like better than you and important than you. Like, they wouldn't care about your stupid email, you know, like very mean inner dialogue. Maybe it's not that intense, but there's those voices that tell you like, oh, just forget about it. Like, they have a lot going on and they're super like important. But then as you keep going on your journey, you become a successful content creator, and someone sends you a fan mail and you are just overflowing with gratitude. You feel so grateful to have connected with this person. You're so inspired by their journey that they shared with you. And you're like, wait a minute. I don't feel more important than this person. I feel grateful for them. I feel inspired by them. I don't think I'm more important than them. I don't think I'm too busy. I don't care how many emails I get. This one means a lot to me. So it's like, I hope that I'm explaining this right. You're looking up to the content creator and thinking, oh, they must think all of these things that make them out of reach. But then when you get into that person's shoes and you realize, like, it's humbling. It's not like a I'm too important. You actually get into their position and feel so humble and feel so loving and feel so grateful. And so you realize all of these worries that I had about my person were really just projection. Like, all of the assumptions I made about them, like not wanting to give me time of day or not looking my way because they're so special, it was all projection. It doesn't mean that they feel like they're special or they feel like they're important or they feel like they're too busy. I was just looking at them through that lens because of my insecurities. But now that I'm someone in that finger quotes higher position, I realize that I don't feel any different. I don't feel like I'm above or like in a super high league. I'm still me. And that's how your person feels too. No matter what they might look like on the 3D, no matter what success they might have, no matter what position they might have, they're still them. They're still your person. Like, it's funny how our insecurities are like, they trick us. Like, oh, don't bother. Like, you're not special enough. No one is thinking about you that way. Literally no one. Except for that dumb little dialogue in your head. And I can call it dumb because it's not you. It's not even a part of you. It's just an intruder, a dumb intruder. I really hope that that made sense. Anything negative you feel about your person or how they view you, I promise it's just a projection. Truly. Like, and I don't know, I feel like it has to do with career, like a following. Like, oh, they must think I'm not worth their time because I have a smaller following than them. But it's like, when you have a big following, you realize, I don't think people with a smaller following aren't worth my time. In fact, like, they're freaking amazing. I don't even care. So you were just projecting. I really hope it makes sense. Anyway, let's move forward. Yeah, I think the Eight of Pentacles is you guys working together. I think as you get to know this person more, you'll realize just how much you have in common, because a personal interpretation for me of the Eight of Pentacles is like, we have the same weird, like, niche interests. We have the same very, very specific hobbies. Like, I don't know, I'm trying to think of something unusual. If you collect little pig figurines, then they also collect little pig figurines. Or like, if you are really into this obscure manga series, they're also into this really obscure manga series. Like, you'll bond over things that you can hardly bond with anyone about, basically. You'll realize how similar you are. And that's what they appreciate you for. Not how, like, important you are or like what your status is. They don't give a shit about that. They just love that you guys can bond over these things, that you have similar interests, and you inspire this person so freaking much. You make this person want to work harder, and I think they make you want to work harder as well. I think you really, with these two crows like latching on their hands, I feel like you guys really watch over each other and protect each other. I think even if you might appear different in the 3D, your energy is very, 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 very similar. But sometimes it gets confusing, like where you end and they begin, and vice versa. I think there's a strong telepathic connection, and you might get confused if it's your inner voice or their higher self talking to you, or if it's your emotions or their emotions. It gets kind of blurry. That's how close your bond is. And I'm just realizing, isn't this a compass, this Wheel of Fortune? I think it's a compass, and then we have inner compass. Like your inner compasses will always point back to each other. I think once you do come into union, you feel so sure and you feel so safe. Wow. So my group number 4s, these are all the messages that we have for you here. So we're going to take this over to the extended now, where we're going to see a specific timing of your union based on your current energies. We're going to see what could speed up that timing or what could slow it down. So what could make the union easier or more difficult. I'm curious to see what that will be like, because we had the Wheel of Fortune for you guys, which is very much like divine timing, divine intervention. Like, don't worry about it. It's just going to happen when you least expect it. So I'm curious to see how like how spirit will work with the extended reading based on the questions. But whatever the case may be, I'm sure we're going to get some interesting insights for you. We're also going to get a message directly from your person of what they wish they could tell you right now. Hopefully that will confirm some things for you, maybe things that you have felt intuitively or that you've received telepathically. We can confirm that those messages were from them. Yeah, that's what we're going to do over in the extended. So if you'd like to join me over there, that will be linked in the description and in the pinned comment. However, if you're going to leave the reading here, I want to say thank you very much for letting me do this reading for you. I hope you have a wonderful day or night whenever you're watching, and I wish you all the best. Please take good care of yourself, stay healthy. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe if you feel like doing that. If you enjoy my content and you'd like to find me elsewhere, you can find me on Instagram. I post regular pick a card readings there. You can find me on Patreon, where we have over 50 exclusive pick a card readings to date, plus 2 new ones every month, and you guys get to choose the topic for those. You can find me on my music channel. The song that you guys heard at the very start of this video was an original song, so if you're interested in listening to the full version of that song or any of my other ones, you can do so over on my music channel. And finally, we have merch at kinotarot.com, which features the floating temple that was at the start of this video, and we have that on hoodies, sweatshirts, mugs, and tote bags. So all that stuff that I just mentioned is going to be linked down below for you in the description, as well as in the pinned comment of this video. Thank you so much for supporting me and for supporting my channel. It really means a lot to me. Group number 4s, I'm sending so much love to you, to your person, to your loved ones, your spirit guides, and your whole spiritual team, both here on earth and in the spirit realms. And I will see you guys in the next one. Bye bye!